Hello everyone and welcome back to Fight Night Rising presented by Wisdom. We are happy to be back after a couple weeks off and on a new patch, a new set even, set 5.5 Sentinels coming into things. My name is Khroen and joining me, per usual, is Boopasaurus. Boop, how are you doing this evening?
Here with power. Last time Fight Night Rising happened, my power decided to conk out, and Lemon Kiwi graciously and wonderfully took my place for the set 5 finale when it came to that last one. But I'm really excited to see where these Radiant items come into play, how people pick them, where these emblems come, because of these emblems, we actually get some really interesting late game comps with, sometimes you'll see two comps face each other at the same time, right? What's the best counter to a comp? Usually it's the same one. But with the emblems, you're going to be able to put a little bit of power here, a little bit of power here, and we'll see how much that's going to affect the overall game in the lobbies.
Definitely the emblems. It's super exciting. That could be literally, anything. You can you can get a ranger emblem, you can get a brawler, you can get so many different things. Radiant items and blessings as well, I think, are a fantastic mechanic that they've brought into TFT. And personally, I mean, I'm biased. I like to see it go forward into, sets down the line. I think it's just a fantastic thing. But enough of the meta. We are here in Fight Night Rising. We are here with 8 wonderful competitors. So let's go ahead and introduce them. We do have returning champion, Jose Paulo, as well as it looks like Buzzy Boo, Asian Gamer, A-Ray, Banana in Pajama, Tay, and it's Dino Dan and Devless. So we do have a lot of returning faces that we have cast before on Fight Night, Boop, and a lot of, really strong ones at that.
Yeah, anytime I see Asian Gamer 5 here, it's always really fun because we all know Asian Gamer as the Zed specialist from set 3. And, that just hasn't been the case, but it seems like the playstyle was pretty similar from what I was able to catch the last time Asian Gamer was here, which is nosedive at the very beginning of the game and then pull up for those late game comps. But this is a pretty, stacked lobby. We've got A-Ray, we've got Tay, who are both very good players. Excited to see people like Buzzy Boo and Banana in Pajama. But yeah, everyone else here is a good player. We should have a very good opening to this patch.
Definitely should. Let's go ahead and see what these players are competing for. It is, of course, going to be their share of the Rising prize pool, $200 in total, 100 of which going to first place, $50 of which go to second place, third and fourth get $25 apiece. And as always, the top 3 will be invited back for next week's competition. We will have next week. We're not taking any more weeks off. We're here at set 5.5 in its fullness, and I'm just excited to be here, Boop, especially after the B patch that we had just a couple of days ago. So things are already going to be shaking up a lot. People will have to rediscover what is good in this meta, and by no means is it going to be solidified. And it's always a fun time when that's the case.
Yeah, not at all. And it's the Wild Wild West, Jim West, Desperado, Rough Rider. No, you don't know nada. Hopefully we don't get a DMCA'd for that. It's a great song by Will Smith. But the overarching theme here is that, like, it's a new world, right? We get to kind of see how these things interact for the very first time. We've gotten a couple B patches, and that Cav patch and Soraka patch releasing yesterday, meaning that, we might get a combination of two things happening today, because recently the pattern has been thing get nerfed, play thing that got nerfed win here at Fight Night Rising. So we'll see if that's going to be the case, because Abominations has been touched a lot, and I've still been finding a lot of success on that composition recently, even without those Draconics. So even the things that have gotten nerfed, I think we should be seeing around today, particularly Cavs being splashed in some early game comps. I mean, there is some tankiness in this meta right now.
Oh yeah, there definitely is, and that's why things like, Hecarim have been nerfed a bit. I think Sejuani got touched a little bit as well. Those Cavaliers kind of just running over everything. It was a bit too powerful. I'm sure, though, as I think, you alluded to, and as is in TFT tradition, thing gets nerfed, a lot of players overreact and say, no, I can't play that thing, it must be terrible now. And then someone's like, no, guys, it's still pretty good. And then they, play it and still do well just because it's uncontested at that point. So there's going to be a lot of diversity, I'm sure, we're here today. I do think and do expect that some players will still be re-rolling, whether it be the Misfortune Cavalier comp, whether it be the Soraka re-roll as well. I've been playing personally a little bit of Hellion reroll recently. If you get a good opener for it, you can make it happen with Kled. Usually Tristana focus is what a lot of players like to focus on, but still there are multiple options for that, and even more rerolling, right? There's still like Yasuo. There's so much that you can actually do if you're like
Yeah.
the reroll option.
Yeah, that Rock and Roll comp is, you like it? That's a great name for it, isn't it?
It's better than the other name that's floating around the TFT
I know,
community
right?
for it. So.
That's why we needed to make a new one.
Thank you. Appreciate
yeah,
that.
the Rock and Roll comp is actually super fun. So I hope we get to see it in action. You know, it's actually so funny. I had a conversation with someone a week ago who has been playing since like set 3, and I was like, you know, Soraka doesn't heal, right? And it keeps happening. I think they get baited by the Dawnbringer buff. Sometimes. But yeah, Soraka puts down that silence, and with some very good items, with that AP, you can actually one-shot a lot of carries in the back line, and backline access can actually be pretty difficult in this meta because of the tankiness of those front lines. As we go to Jose, who has been absolutely crushing it in Fight Night since they got here. I believe, though, this is the 3rd week, and, you know, we know a lot of people do stumble on this 3rd week.
That is the 3rd week curse that some players do fall victim to. And yes, I think, actually, it's looking like this is Jose's 4th week back. Maybe 3rd win in a row, though. Let's see if they can, you know, get past that hump there. Asian Gamer saying already more dog by starting carousel. That was a kind of different carousel. I believe there was a lot of tears, gloves, and one rod. So no kind of like attack damage AD starts to these players, and honestly, that might shift their priority of what they want to play. Maybe we are going to see some more you know, AP focused comps. There are still things like Vel'Koz that can do okay, even if and maybe Karma as well, even if players do generally like to go more AD style nowadays.
I would say that Karma comp, if I were to put, you know, a tier list together, would be, you know, kind of hanging on to the top of B tier. It can steal some wins. Random targeting can always steal wins, right? But the hard part is consistency, right? That comp in that front line doesn't stand as strong as some of our other comps in that front line. So access to the Karma is a little bit easier. And if the Karma doesn't do enough damage right away, then it can be a little bit tough. But what we're seeing right now is, you know, a couple A-bombs. Brand is an amazing early game unit, tons of damage, but also 2 very good synergies. You got the A-bomb and the Spellweaver, 3 A-bomb, 2 Spellweaver, but we're going to take the Brand out and we're going to push into just best on board right now.
Yeah, best on board could even improve if Jose decides to level up and play the Aatrox, maybe for a couple Legionnaire. Kept the Callista with the glove on there, so the glove, of course, carries on to her 2-star version. Looks like Jose is considering it, scouting around the lobby, seeing is this Aatrox going to make a difference, but it actually will be the Pike over the Aatrox, so giving a little assassin power, maybe guaranteeing that Kha'Zix will snipe a unit away, so that even if the rounds aren't a win, it is losing with as little HP loss as possible.
So, the thing about Tristana that's actually really interesting is I feel like Tristana was the Donkey Kong of this set, right? Was something that everyone was kind of running on the first couple days and was like, oh my god, this is so good, and then eventually everyone kind of figured it out. But in terms of early game potential, if you get attack speed items and attack damage, it's a wonderful item carrier for some of your late game units that are going to be attack damage based. But we've got 2 crit gloves, we've got a cloak. We're stylish for the winter right now. We're going to do a little bit of crying as well with a tier. So where do you think the direction is with these items are going? We've got a potential Hodge, we've got a QSS, and not a ton of direction right now. But of course, we're only at 2-2.
There's not a ton of direction, as you're saying. The only thing that would really players would commit to at this point is the Hand of Justice, which may go on the Callista, and that's fine, but it doesn't even lock you into any, you know, AD or AP comps. Hodge is very flexible in that way. I also like the changes that you do get a little bit of damage or healing no matter what. It just kind of increases the buff of the other one depending on what you roll, so you're always going to have a little bit of that. Jose does slam the Hodge, and even if they go into a mid-game Abomination, Hodge is still decent on there. It was, I think, best in slot at a point before the Abomination got nerfed, but now it's just still going to be okay. And with it, maybe Jose will protect the win streak. It looks like it. The Kha'Zix still alive, probably going to get one ulti coming through because the Dawnbringer buff is there, and Callista should be able to clean this one up.
And so we're going to preserve that win streak. And there's nothing worse than winning your first round and then losing your second round and then winning your third round and then losing your fourth round, right? You want to start building momentum either on the low end by losing or the high end by pushing and winning. It is hard to lead, pole to pole. We've seen it happen occasionally, but usually whoever is leading at the mid game point will top 4, but maybe not win that lobby. But in terms of team comps now, the fact that this is a comp that is win streaking, especially with that second round win, I think we should start investing because we're on the line right now if we can take some of these wins. And yes, we do level up to 5 just so we can protect it. But this skirmisher comp, this little bit of front line, it might be a little difficult. They could probably get some units off the board, but I definitely assume the Stombringer comp should take this at the end of the day.
Yeah, especially Nidalee surviving. She's in her cat form. As long as a lot of dodges come through here, and yeah, that's enough dodging happening. So Jose, with the aggressive level to 5, does maintain the win streak, and I absolutely love this decision from Jose to level up to 5 right now. You could have made 10 gold, could have sold the Callista and played 4 Dawbringers that way, but why not have both? Use your economy very aggressive, secures your win streak right then against what probably was going to be the hardest matchup, so you're not going to run into that for at least the next 4 fights. You can get your 100 HP into Krugs, you can still continue up to build econ that way, level up on pace, maybe even go aggressive level 7, and even if you're not contesting the lobby win, you can at least just get top 4 based off of that HP gap. So I love that aggression from Jose. I think that he's definitely going to be rewarded for that.
Okay, we're going over to A-Ray now, and we're actually seeing some Cavaliers. Kled, definitely a unit a lot of people are talking about. Item agnostic, especially on the tank and AD side of things. What are you thinking about this frontline right now, having Kled hold these items with a couple skirms hanging out?
Yeah, I think this is a very fine early game. It's not going to be like committing to any Hellion rerolls because we're already level 5. It's just going to be playing the strongest board, and Kled can carry these attack damage items fairly well for, a plethora of units. So we could be seeing Aphelios, we could just be seeing leaning into skirms, maybe even Draven as well that could pop up. It's not going to be on, top of the player's priority list, but still solid. Just playing a good early game. And runs into Dino Dan, who is on 100 HP. Of course, A-Ray is not on 100 because they lost the first round, but still, protecting this win streak at this point is very, very important, and might not be able to do so. Not looking like it.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like Senna is not doing any damage without any of those items in the backline. It's more of an animation than anything else, and it definitely felt that way during that round. If we do have a little bit of respite, we are going to get our Tier 2 Irelia, as well as the fact that we are right in the middle of the crowd now. And usually when you're at this position, you can gather information a little bit easier with less pressure because you're not forced to be making decisions like the people on the top and bottom of the lobby are. You kind of take a little bit of time. But the only thing that we're going to adjust for this particular round is that Irelia, pushing it to Tier 2 and moving our backline a little bit. But most of our damage is going to be coming from that Irelia and Kled at the end of the day.
Yeah, just to make sure that the, any Kha'Zixes don't jump onto the Senna and kind of, take her out for free. The Senna's still decent early game. She does provide some CC, which is nice. Her damage, sure, is not going to be that high, but maybe with this Irelia, it could be good enough. Irelia, too, is very powerful at this point in the game. She was just nerfed, but, for good reason, because she's a strong unit. And is being buffed by Sentinel, Skirmisher as well, and with that, we'll be winning the round against Devless. No streak going into Krugs, which is unfortunate, but still a decent amount of HP. And also, speaking of HP, Asian Gamer down there at the bottom, it feels like, we didn't miss a beat, Boop. Asian Gamer still doing the tried and true into the early game to spike hard in the mid game and come back from there.
It's like when you go back to your childhood room, you're like, I still feel at home.
Yeah.
That's what Asian gamers do. An Asian gamer loves living in that 8th place spot until they're about 30, 40 HP. And there were some open fort compositions before these nerfs from the Cavaliers that we did see. So, I think in terms of flexibility, in terms of opportunity, you can kind of go whatever way you want. You can be a generalist and keep it open flexibly. You can potentially force some comps based on items. I think all things can be viable in this set because at the end of the day, these Radiant items are going to be a lot easier to use than I think a lot of these shadow items are, which I think we kind of delved into
Oh
too
yeah.
much Halloween candy territory with the shadow items. And with these, I just feel like we're making some very good vanilla. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
sometimes vanilla ice cream is amazing, and don't ever sleep on vanilla. You know what I mean? And
It's
we
yeah.
got some sprinkles, we got a couple other things, but I do like how this feels as a player so far. I feel like I have a lot more decision making opportunities. Well,
Yeah.
this is going to be a little bit of an interesting matchup at the end of the day.
It will be. It still will be, of course, the Aurelia having now the Bramble, because that was a really good Krug round from A-Ray. Not going to be quite good enough to go against the Hellions of Tay, though. Tay levels to 6 very aggressively, try to preserve their win streak. But going back to the point on the the radiant items and the ice cream analogy, I actually fully agree with you. I think it's a lot more familiar. I'm very glad that shadow items are gone, because in theory they were fantastic, and they wanted to promote a lot of player agency. You can make a shadow item, there's a lot many more choices, but really it was just honestly like restricting at the end of the day. But radiant items only having upsides, being limited to one at the same point in every single game where you can play around it and make some cool plays. It's always hype too. Like, we're on stage 3, we're gonna be 3-6 in a little bit, and I'm already so excited to be like, oh, what's this item gonna be? How is it gonna define everybody's compositions? Because it's just such an important and integral part of set 5.5. We're gonna be there in a few rounds, Boop, but for now we're gonna be on board with Tay. 100 HP going against Dino Dan, so someone's going to lose their streak.
Ooh, at least at this point, they both have 40 gold, so it's not like the worst case scenario, but whoever wins this will be at 50 gold, which is a great opportunity for them, as the ZZ Rot does pop out and taunt that front line. Tay looks like they are having a little bit of trouble, but so does its Dino Dan. It actually looks like Tay is going to pull this one out at the end of the day. Those Spellweavers doing a ton of damage, and that's going to be a 4-0. So not only do we end the streak, we actually push Dino Dan further down into the standings, and now we get some access to our 4-cost units to continue pushing this Hellion comp.
Yeah, we got a Rel, and Rel's a fantastic unit. I definitely see her in a lot of late game compositions, no matter what other carry units they feature. Considering playing it now over the brand does give Spellweaver, and I guess Ziggs has the highest damage potential on this team right now. Maybe Leona, depending on how many Sunfire procs she gets, but actually, Tay is leveling to 7 on 3-3, and that is almost always unheard of. It's maybe even less common than seeing someone go level 5 before the stage 2 carousel, but you can still make 20 gold, you can protect the streak, play a very solid unit, and looks like, they're rewarded for it.
Yeah, if they lost that would have not been good.
Oh yeah, not at
all. No. Because the only time that I think we do see people level on 3-3 is when people are win streaking on Draconic, and they kind of want to keep pushing those levels to get to Draconic 5 a little bit sooner, and that was like last patch where we were seeing that. But now 3-3 with 20 gold. I have noticed that a lot of people seem to be making more money at the early game and seem to have access to that kind of gold, which will inevitably change the leveling opportunities. So a lot of people will level to 7 at 3-5, 3-6, right? Based off of where they think they are. And something I also want to point out about these radiant items is the fact that at high levels of play, when you choose them is actually important, because I've definitely seen some people just not choose anything until the very end to kind of see where everyone else is going. So there's mind games attached to it as well that excite me when it comes to what we're about to see next round, as we get our first glimmer of a 5-cost unit. One that is still in the game, I swear, which is Kale. Usually we don't see that Kale unless we have a bunch of tanky units around it, and we can actually go that direction if we wanted to. But 5 gold from 30 to lose all that interest, I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, Kale, new unit in the game, I swear. Never see Kale on any comps or anything nowadays. Maybe there's a scenario where like some Kale Knights thing can work, because I know that there's like a Jax Knights comp that's floating around, but even that's not really high tier. Kale's certainly going to be skipped up on by Tay in this scenario. Going up against Jose with some abominations. Has 4 A-bomb even, but still not good enough to pull out this win. Jose rocking a lot of flexible items, as we saw them on the opener. built a Hand of Justice. Now is going to be a Zeke's Herald. But here we go. Here's 3-6. Now we get some options. Boop the ZZ Rot like you were memeing about before the show. Quick as silver. Targon Prime. Blue Blessing and Shroud. Okay, Shroud by far is the best item here.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
This was literally almost the exact example I gave earlier.
Yeah,
like
it's
this
really close.
Yeah, this particular, like, what if you gave these items? I think
like,
Shroud... I know, right? I think Shroud is by far the best choice here. And one of the coolest things about Shroud is that it helps your friends out. So the Shroud of Reverence, but this is a tough choice because nothing is amazing. We're actually on the low end in terms of tier list. So we're going to go with the blue buff because of our spell weavers. And we actually get more ability power with this particular blue buff too. So this earlier Vel'Koz is going to be pretty powerful. Let's see if not a good ult to start. We do get rid of one unit. The second one, though, is going to rip through this team, and we should be okay.
Yep, it should be fun. Oh, okay, it gets canceled by the Thresh Hook, but I think Ziggs being still alive as well.
Yeah.
Means that this is going to be a fine round. Tay did leave that... oh, actually, maybe it's not. Okay, Vel'Koz ulti comes through again. Is fine. But Tay left that decision until like a couple seconds left before the round actually started. Put it on brand, was like, wait a minute, I have Vel'Koz in my shop because I didn't get to, you know, see the shop for a very long time there. We'll see how that's going to function. I definitely personally would have gone Shroud in that scenario. I think that it's still just a very generally flexible item. It still gives starting mana for the whole team, as well as, you know, that whole Shroud radius is absolutely massive. You can Shroud a whole board really without even trying.
Yeah,
it's kind of insane. However, we'll be moving over to Asian Gamer, one of the lower HP players in this lobby. A little under middle of the pack, actually. And it's going for some Hellions. Is it going to be re-rolling at level 6? No, okay. It's just pushing level to 7, using a Tristana at least as an item carrier, but might be forced to stick with Hellions for even longer, though. I have to see. They don't have a Last Whisper, which is kind of concerning. Generally, just, you know, if you build any sort of attack damage... if this IE is going to be a thing, perhaps, or it's going to get countered by any brambles. A little bit worried.
And we already have the Giant Slayer, so I wonder where this is going to end up going. Because usually you build the Giant Slayer when the Last Whisper just isn't available. But we're going to jump into the back line, get thrown right back to our original starting point. And this Hellion comp is not looking too hot right now. Might be hot in hell, but not for this Hellion comp at the moment. As the Leona pushes through that front line and helps the team get the win. Devless with some, I would say those are pretty good items on that Lucian there.
Oh, yeah.
in the back line.
Certainly is. Last Whisper IE, fantastic combo, of course. And Bloodthirster, or the Radiant Bloodthirster. For a bit of that lifesteal, Asian Gamer committed a Hellion Spatula leading into that round, so we know that this isn't going to pivot away. It is, of course, going to at least try to be 8 Hellions. Once Asian Gamer gets level 8, hopefully rolls into a Teemo, or gets bailed out by Teemo on the Carousel. I think you would pick that every day of the week. The problem then being, what are the items for Tristana and the front line going to be? But I guess Asian Gamer says, you know, Bloodthirster is good enough. Not going to have any Last Whispers, any IEs, Deathblades, things of the sort. Maybe it'll be okay.
Whew, man, this is like the baby brigade on the field right now. Everyone's so tiny. Everyone trying to punch above their weight. Let's see if these Yordles and a Misfortune, who is masquerading with their disguise kit as that Yordle, will be able to pull Asian Gamer another win. We got these assassins. Good positioning, actually, with those assassins, but unfortunately for them, Diana is going to pop these Yordles like a pimple after that ultimate with that Frozen Heart Radiant item. So far we've seen 3 different Radiant items from 3 different people, and this Yordle comp is starting to really get wiped right now. It's not losing by a little, but it's losing by, you know, full boards at this point.
Yeah, not a good matchup there, at least, as we do have an assassin player who had a couple assassin emblems. Speaking of emblems, we're gonna get the stimmy, as TFT players like to call it, but the Radiant Blessing coming with a tome here. So the tome can offer Spellweaver, Draconic Legionnaire, Forgotten. All of them are not really good for Asian Gamer. Really, just want to be blunt about that one. There maybe a Spellweaver for like Misfortune, I guess, if she's going to be the Cannoneer of choice, and Asian Gamer goes for that. Could be spelled. Who else? Is he gonna do Kennen? Okay, he's gonna do Kennen. Sure. It's not amazing, but gotta make do with what you got.
Tay on fire once again after that singular loss, but we're gonna actually continue wiping the floor with the other Yordles. So these Hellions for Tay doing a little bit more work than Asian Gamer, and we're really just looking for a front line at this point in time for Asian Gamer. Wet tissue paper, I think, might do a better job than what we're seeing right now from Asian Gamer's front line. It's not over just yet. If anyone's gonna win a lobby for 20 HP on the bottom of the leaderboard, it's Asian Gamer. But where are we going to go from here? We have a tier on the bench as we move over to Dino Dan, who is a Fight Night Rising vet, and it love that board, by the way. And the item of choice is going to be nothing that I think the first choice wanted to be there, maybe that sword for a Hextech Gunblade for someone like the Vel'Koz, but it looks like we have our Nikos as well that's going to be invested here pretty shortly.
Yeah, and speaking on Asian Gamer's position in this game just a little bit more, as we might not see him for, a lot longer. When Asian Gamer usually comes back from this point, it's because he's out rerolling and hits some 3 stars. This scenario, we're going to see him go to level 8, it looks like, from the right-hand side. But this Hellion composition really does not do well unless there are 3 stars in it. But Asian Gamer is not rolling for any of them. Gonna be level 8, and just pray to find the Teemo, maybe. Doesn't look like he does, because he's still at 20 HP. So we'll see where he goes from there. But for now, Dino Dan with 6 redeemed does have a Vel'Koz too with some fantastic items and in a great position to deal with Devliss's Lucian on the other side of the board there.
See you later. Another ult, and that should be it. But that Lucian's trying its best to come back into this fight, and even through that Dragon's Claw, that Vel'Koz is actually going to be doing a ton of damage. Syndra going to be making this a trampoline park just for a little while, but there's no other result than the one that we just saw. That Vel'Koz is going to be doing more damage, or double the damage than the rest of the team combined at the end of the day.
Vel'Koz is the carry. Definitely lived up to his names and expectation there. Asian Gamer did win on his round, finds MF2 at this point. Not bad. Thieves' Gloves roll for Dino Dan here a bit lackluster. Maybe it's okay. Maybe Aatrox will actually pump a lot of damage, as to we wouldn't expect. But the HP differential in this lobby certainly tells a story, Boop. We have, 70 plus from Dino Dan, A-Ray, and Tay. Jose is the only player that's really middle of the pack, but everyone else is really far at the bottom at 29 or less.
That is something that you'll actually notice with this set in particular, is some interesting numbers when it comes to those HP differentials. I don't remember the last time we had someone as solidly in 4th as Jose is right now.
Yeah.
In a lobby, like a legitimate, like if you're under or below this line type of person. And I think the reason why is people are losing by different amounts every round. Before it'd be like, I got wiped, I'll get right here, but there's a lot more losing by 3 units, which puts you at some interesting HP totals at the end of the game, as Devliss actually does lose out 14 HP. Asian Gamer might have stabilized. We might have been able to hit something that have stabilized our board, and we're 2 in a row now, as we're going back to Jose, and we get another Radiant item potentially, or it's going to be an emblem.
Pivot. Yeah. It's going to be an emblem. The Radiant Blessings will be the same for like every player in the game. If it's components, you're getting components. If it's emblem, everyone will be able to choose that. The exciting thing is that Jose is making a huge pivot at this point. Jose sold pretty much the whole board. I think it was a lot of A-bombs. Is going to level to 8 with still being at 50 gold. So this roll down is going to determine Jose's spot here. Is he going to hit a lot of solid units? Is he going to go up to 6 Sentinels? He has Cannoneer, Ukshan at this point, and of course the Radiant Thieves' Gloves on the Lucian. Okay, rolling the Banshee's Claw, or the Radiant Banshee's Claw, is going to be really good. The Spark, not so much for Lucian in the backlines. But let's see what other upgrades he finds. Trying to find some Revenants. Revenants are a solid front line always.
Ooh-wee. Look at this. So many. Okay, we at least got the Zeke. So many decisions were made in that situation. Yeah. I mean, in terms of like what I'm capable of, I probably would still be rolling at 30 gold right now. To go like in terms of where these decisions are being made. I wonder if that Ionic actually might end up making a small difference when it comes to beating this Teemo and not getting completely bursted by those shrooms to start with. And thank goodness we actually take care of the Teemo in the back line before we 1v1 him at the end of the day, which could have been an issue here, but we've got Akshan and we've got Lucian holding it up to win that round.
Oh, and 5-2 Armory actually coming through, so potentially another Cannoneer emblem perhaps. Doing a bit of scouting, could go Quicksilver for, I mean, that'd really only be, I guess, for the Aphelios at that point. Maybe a frontliner if they want a guaranteed cast. But Jose is going to pick the Ironclad. Already has the Rel and the Nautilus in there. Pair of Volibears down the shop. Wants to maybe play Gwen. But holding on to so many things, like this is so much gold on the bench, Boop. Jose has to make some decisions soon if he starts to lose rounds. Like maybe he can get away with it right now, but not for many rounds.
That's 34 gold on his bench right now. So, I mean, that's not even just a little bit. Like, that's not a little
That's
bit
a
of
lot.
gold, right? That is maybe a tier 2 4-cost unit, right? At the end of the day, if we put them all back in the bank and focused on one of them. But we're going to continue with this Power Ranger Cannoneer comp, and we're going to see some, you bring around the Rosies from Akshan, who is able to debuff them as well. And it's all about getting that Akshan before it's kind of like a 2v1 situation where he's just going to be spinning around the whole time and not really doing anything outside of that, as the Giant Slayer not going to be enough to win out this round, as Dino Dan takes down Jose to push him deeper into 4th place, I guess.
Yeah. Deeper into 4th. Asian Gamer did end up taking 8th there, and yeah, it was very hard to recover from that point. Asian Gamer did so for a couple of rounds, but there's really no way Tristana 2 holding all your items is going to stabilize you to get a top 4. Didn't even dodge 8th though, but still Jose trying to make use of this board. Still trying to look for the upgrades as well. On a Gwen pair. Did take out the Nautilus. Okay, sold the Lucian. That was holding the Thieves' Gloves. And was that?
Did we press another key on accident?
Huh? I'm confused.
Yeah. So, ooh, yikes. This is a yikers. You know, sometimes you just make a mistake, right? And I think this is just one of those times, and it's a brutal mistake. We go from a top 4 comp to maybe a bottom, you know, like being eliminated next round, because I think instead of pressing W, we might have pressed something else.
It could have been E instead of W. I mean, they're right next to each other on the keyboard, Boop. Maybe Jose just says, all right, it's going to be a 6th here. Let's just move on to the next one. Because, yeah, I can't really make any arguments for, like, what it could have been doing there for the pivot.
Especially since the
synergies. Like,
yeah, Radiant item was on it, too,
yeah,
right?
and
Like, that
place it
was
back
the
on.
carry. Exactly. And a Hellion spat for Asian Gamer, who's no longer here, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, one more round, and we actually could have potentially stabilized once again based off of that spat. But look at these Revenants in the backline. The best part about Assassin Revenants is it doesn't matter that they're Assassins. They're going to get a second life anyway. So they're going to jump into the back, hopefully get their ults off, and then let the rest of the team do their job. This Nocturne in the front line, too, is absolutely insane, and I absolutely love the Frozen Heart on the Diana. It's going to reduce attack speed by 50%, but it's also going to give 45 mana to your team, which is not going to help people like Nocturne, but in order to CC the team, like with things like Pike and things like your Revenants, that's actually really nice.
Yeah, I believe actually the Frozen Heart does only give mana to the Diana, I believe, so she casts really early.
Okay.
Yeah. But still, it's a fantastic item for sure on the Diana especially. And Buzzy Boo's composition is 6 assassins. He's got 2 assassin emblems, has the Nocturne 3.
Oh!
Did take the Pike on the Carousel for Pike 3. This Nocturne going up against the Lucian 1v1, resurrects with the Revenant. That's a lot of HP, but not enough to beat Devless's board. Devless with the very stacked Lucian there. Jose does end up falling, of course, as you kind of predicted, in 6th.
Yeah, I would love someone to clarify, like, what happened there. That was very
It must have been a misclick.
Yeah, and, you know, and that happens. I mean, some of the greatest, it's the yips.
The yips.
It's
It all comes back to the yips.
You know what's actually really funny? The yips has been in the news a lot lately because
Really?
Simone Biles has the yips right now,
Oh,
or the
yeah.
twisties. So the and that's like a thing. If y'all at home are wondering what the yips are, it's when it started in golf. I actually did a lot of research on this. It started in golf, which is when people who are usually really good putters all of a sudden can't get the ball in the hole, right? So it's something that you do every day that is usually second nature that all of a sudden you're struggling with, right? And sometimes you get into a performance situation and maybe you're a little nervous, there's a lot more on the line, and you get the yips, and you make it's the definition of making a silly mistake, right? Yep. A mistake that you normally would never make. And so I think that's definitely something that happened to Jose just now. But the hard part about it, though, right, is that we saw the yips start. Or are they going to continue? Because getting out of them is actually really, really hard. So I'm very interested to see how Jose recovers from that.
I think usually, judging by the kind of player that Jose is, I think it would usually be fine. Just like, okay, whatever, weird, sure, sixth, still not over with, and recover easily. Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully it doesn't lead into some subsequent game tilt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, it's something that's, I mean, no matter how good you are, sometimes those mistakes do happen. You'll buy XP instead of refresh, right? It can definitely happen. And so now that we've got the 6 skirm comp, so it's so funny. A lot of people during these newer metas will try the Sentinels, will try all the new units, and then we come back and all of a sudden it's skirmishers that are doing really well. So we do have a 6 skirm comp, Deadless on fire right now. So when the sandwich is on fire like it is right now, the rest of the lobby needs to be pretty aware of what they're doing, because Devless might have a strong comp but might get rock paper scissors out of it. So are you going to try to counter everybody, or are you going to try to counter a specific person here, as A-Ray actually gets an action 2?
Yeah, Action 2 at this point is going to be fantastic. Dino Dan going up against the Assassin board. Can the Vel'Koz actually stay alive? The Nocturne's right next to it. Nocturne's going to revive and start cleaving. A shield comes through from the Rel, though, and it's not going to be enough. Not going to be enough shielding. The Nocturne heals up. The Titan's resolve, making him a bit tankier as well. This round will go the way of Buzzyboo. Dino Dan has enough HP to not fall, however, so we'll be safe for another probably 2 rounds. Devless does fall at 5th, so we have our top 4, Boop.
We do have our top 4, which is actually pretty great for Buzzyboo, because remember how separated that top 4 was from everybody else. It looks like we're going to push for a potential Vel'Koz 3.
Okay.
Redeem
Redeem
Spat too.
Yeah.
That is one of the better choices. That actually opens up some possibilities for us as well. And it also looks like Tay has a lot of synergies right now. I believe that was the board that we saw, as it's going to be redeemed Gwen. We're going to switch out our Thief's Gloves Aatrox, which is exactly like what you want to do, especially since you're not running that Liege en Air. Where is that Thief's Gloves going to go at the end of the day? We'll find out, but I like the decisions that we're making here. Keeping the Vel'Koz 3 open is cool too, because we've got 25 HP. We're at least going to be able to save 1 round.
Yeah, going up against Tay. Tay has a lot of Hellions. This is the better Hellion board here as opposed to Asian Gamer. Tay got here from a win streak, has Teemo 2, and that blue buff, the Radiant blue buff, is actually putting in a lot of work. It is going to be on the opposite side of Vel'Koz, however, so the Vel'Koz cast might prove lethal if the healing is not there, but he's healing enough. These shrooms just keep coming out, but no, Vel'Koz burning through everything. Can he get another cast? Can he do it? He does. The healing comes through, and Vel'Koz's gonna win the round. 17,000 damage, 17,500 damage even. Fantastic stuff.
I love watching Vel'Koz, man. It reminds me of Ari, where you just like focus in on the character, and you're like, if you ult, you win. You don't, you don't. Right? It all comes down to this last ult, and you see that HP bar get slimmer and slimmer, and then we get the window washer to come out, and we are throwing that disintegration ray and eating some Hellions for dinner. So we know that we can beat that comp now, as the top 4 has tightened up. Tay, still in the driver's seat. We are definitely going to be able to get 3rd place based off of attrition, as the other 3 go against each other. But where the final placement is going to be interesting, especially with this Vel'Koz kind of countering the rest of the lobby, as it's going to be really squishy units on the board right now.
Yeah, very squishy units. The Syndra peel from the Ukshan was fantastic as well, and he jumps back in to the Vel'Koz. Also a great tech going into this fight as Dinodan recognized that he was going to be playing up against A-Ray, so plays 3 Ironclads. The units are all going to be a lot tankier. It's still not enough though. 3 Ironclad, not enough to deal with the Last Whisper, with the Ukshan Armor Shred. And Dinodan goes down to 9 HP. Buzzyboo on 3 to win the round. A-Ray, though, in a solid spot with a kind of menagerie of synergies here. Not, going for any chase traits, any vertical comps. The 6-piece is only running 3 of everything at the max.
So we let the redeem spat go, so we're going to be happy with the redeems that we do have, and we're seeing a lot of utility get picked up, right? We've got the Trap Claw to help with some CC, we've got the Locket to help with some tankiness, and we finally do have a Fiddlesticks 2. So we should be able to get that ultimate off, and if that ult goes off against these Hellions and we're able to do it before the first death with that Revenant, we actually might be able to steal a win out, because Tay isn't winning every round, right? We did just win that last round against that Vel'Koz, but it is not a guarantee that Tay wins this lobby.
Not a guarantee indeed. Other composition's very strong. Dan hits a Volibear too. That is massive. A lot of shielding's gonna come through. Like, there's Rels everywhere. There's going to be Garens. There's a lot of shielding. Volley great out, of course, dealing with that. The Shroud onto A-Ray's Volibear, though. The Jax and Ukshan are gonna be the carries. Oh, looks like Buzzyboo with the Assassins did take out Dinodan there. And A-Ray going up against Tay. It's a really close matchup, but does go the way of A-Ray.
Yeah, A-Ray might be able to pull this out at the end of the day. A-Ray having a good day. Let's see if it's going to turn into a good night for the rest of this. But we do have our top 3. Buzzyboo holding on for dear life on, on the bottom of that leaderboard at 3 HP, winning exactly where they need to win to push themselves into the top 3. Tay has led pole to almost pole. This is the first time I believe Tay has not been in first place for a while, and A-Ray has been quietly hoarding these assassins. No one has even touched another assassin at this point in time. So this tier 3 Nocturne, like any assassin comp, can steal a win from anybody. It's all about the CC from the Diana and the targeting from the other team.
Yeah, positioning for Assassins is instrumental in its success, but it looks like it might not be good enough, at least for this Ghost round. A-Ray going to be dealing with these Assassins somewhat easily. Ukshan's still alive. Yeah, it takes out the Nocturne. Revenant buff, not quite good enough there. But actually, on the other board, Tay takes out Buzzyboo and the Assassins, so we're going to have the Teemo Heimerdinger board, the Hellions, 6. There's so many synergies on this left-hand side. Look at all of those. But this board is going to be going up against A-Ray's kind of menagerie there with the Ukshan, the Jax, and things of the like.
We're going to add another one, too, with the Dogburger spat. So we'll see if it's even going to get any synergies there. At that point in time,
you can put all those on the screen.
Yeah, it's too much.
It's not going to show it.
Yeah, too much of a good thing. We're on like our 11th course at this point in time, and I'm full. But sometimes quantity doesn't equal quality, right? So we'll see if all of these synergies does equal a win. And this should be the last round for Tay if we do lose out by more than 1 unit. A Shroud is very nice in the late game. There are just some items that get better as the game goes on. Zephyr and Shroud, notorious for being those items. Mana Reave is time for your front line to chew through theirs, especially if they don't already have it. We are going to get a tier 2 Heimerdinger, though, so that's going to be a huge damage boost, relieving the Shroud on the bench so we can get the most value out of it. It's going to be right in front of the Fiddlesticks. We're going to go ahead and leave the Viego without that Reave, even though we had a choice to, and we're going to take the Lulu because of that.
Yeah, Viego is going to be dealt with at this point, though, and these things are so safe in the corner. Heimerdinger, too, does fantastic at dealing with massive, massive boards. And this is just a stomp of fights, looking like the Jax does revive. Oh, okay, Heimerdinger gets another cast off. Hits the Jax. There's a lot of CC still available with the Ivern, with the Rel as well. Ukshan cannot get through everything, so A-Ray drops 7 HP. This is looking like a win for Tay, unless some massive changes or some massive fight RNG goes the other way.
Man, anytime I see Teemo at the late game, I get so scared. One time I accidentally eliminated myself because I lost the round. If I didn't buy the Teemo, I would have stayed there. And so I just get like really nervous. But we already have our Teemo 2 with some beautiful items. That blue buff, very good on the Teemo, and so we're going to get a little bit of extra damage from that, and with those crits you're going to be able to burst down someone like the Akshan, maybe even something like the Irelia at the end of the day, especially since you're getting even more debuffs by the snippy snaps of the Gwen. So all we need to do is survive like it's easy. The original CC, and if we're able to have a numbers advantage through these Volibear ults, Tay should be able to take this pretty easily, and it looks like it's going to ring true.
Yeah. Definitely. So much CC, so much damage, having 2 legendary units being tier 2'd with full items. Sure, the BT isn't great for Heimerdinger, but at least gives him a shield. It's not going to be able to be bursted by Akshan. It's just a matter of time. Akshan grappling everywhere, but can't grapple their way up to the first. That will be Tay instead claiming that in game number 1.
Tay taking the dub in game number 1. Quantity does mean quality at the end of the day. I believe there may be 3 different spats on the board. We had a Dawnbringer spat, a Hellion spat, and I think an Ironclad spat. But what a beautiful game to come in and win out on, with Hellions bringing you across that finish line.
Yeah, that was very well played. It is the early game high rolling that you got to know how to transition into the late game, and both of those players I think did it fantastically, but Tay doing it just a little bit better and utilizing I think a lot of game sense to say, hey, when is 6 Hellions going to fall off? When is it just better to run just better units, right? Like these Ironclads, especially going into an AD focused composition, or like Volibears, the Revenant, stuff that you always want to be able to slot in. Some great heads up recognition there to be able to take the victory. And that's, I think, that's going to be not indicative of everything that we're going to see in terms of comps winning the lobby. I think we're still in for a huge amount of variety for all the subsequent games. But
totally. I think,
yeah.
Tay forgot that we didn't go to culinary school today, as all of the spatulas get hoarded by our lobby winners. We look at our scores.
Let's go ahead and look. Of course, it is Tay, the lobby winner, 10 points. A-Ray with this respectable second place, 8 points. Buzzby with the Assassins going third with 7. Dino Dan in fourth. Devless Jose, Banana in Pajama, and Asian Gamer down there towards the bottom of the pack. And kind of surprising scores, I think, from especially Jose and Asian Gamer. Asian Gamer playing, of course, that, I'm going to go low HP and then spike and come back eventually, but didn't really hit a spike. Jose with the unfortunate yips there as well, and selling the Lucian, which seemed like a misclick. Hopefully he doesn't run into that in this next game.
Cool. So it looks like the name of the game right now is commit. There are so many choices, right? Sometimes when you are given, pretend there's like a Snickers bar, Butterfinger, all of the wonderful Halloween candy in front of you, right? But one of those bars has $5. Right, but they all taste good, but one of them has $5 in it, right? You got to find that $5 amongst the wonder of the things that could have $5 in it, if that makes sense. And so when you're discovering exactly what works for you, sometimes it's the salad bar buffet comp that we saw from Tay, where there wasn't enough space on the synergy list to list all of them, versus a little bit more of one of those reach comps, which will have 6 sentinels or something like that. It really depends on your play style. And this is pretty friendly to different kinds of play styles and skill expression. I think in terms of onboarding and starting new players, this is really good and feels simple, but has a lot of complexity attached to it, as we just saw with Tay's board. You add all those emblems, right? The possibilities are legitimately endless.
They definitely are, and that was I think kind of a weird game in the sense that there were actually a ton of armories and a ton of emblems for everybody. Like in every game of TFT, it's going to be different. Sometimes it's going to be a little different, sometimes vastly different. That seemed to be a kind of vastly different kind of game. We did have, of course, the blessing bringing the tome with, players got select an emblem, and then all the armories giving emblems.
Yeah,
so
we had
so many players.
We had a stimmy and then an armory, one right after another. Right, this stuff is.
I don't think I've seen that actually in my games.
Flying
personally.
High. I like how we all just started calling it stimmy. How does that happen?
Yeah.
Right, one person says it, and I'm like, we like that. Let's just use that.
We're all obsessed with the concept recently, from being in lockdowns and everything. You're just like, Where's my money? Please, I need it to bail me out of these rough times. And when you're down to 40 HP, it's the rough times. So you need this to be to bail you out.
Speaking of being bailed out, though, congratulations to the TFT team for performing maybe the worst on TFT on Twitch Rivals, and then winning it out. K3 Soju's team. That's so we got some representation on Twitch Rivals that you got to cast not too long ago. But as we not too long ago, meaning yesterday. But 2
days ago for the TFT LOR portion, yesterday for the Valorant and the League. But it was a fun event. They Soju actually had a clip where he was like, "If we lose the TFT portion of this, I'm never playing Twitch Rivals again," like kind of thing. Very bold claim, which Soju makes a lot of those. We got a lot of great players and great personalities in the TFT community for sure.
It's an eighth, but it's an eighth. It's a first. It's a first. But the second lobby should be coming shortly. I have an inkling that we're actually going to see something totally different in this lobby. We didn't see any of the general Aphelios comps in that lobby at all. No Rangers representation, and Moonman has definitely been pretty popular, but I think it goes back to one of the very first things you said, Khroen, which was this is an AP-sided opening carousel.
Yeah,
and while we did get the Last Wave Spurs, and while we did get the IEs, the comps that did the best were a little bit more on the AP side, the Vel'Koz and the Teemo and the Hellions, right? So let's see what this next opening carousel is going to bring to the table, because if we start with a bunch of bows or even some tanky items, we are definitely going to be seeing a lot more of those abominations do better. We had abomination comps. I don't think the items are very friendly to them, as well as things like that Soraka reroll, which, you play because the pack gave you 4 Sorakas for some reason, right? You might as well at this point. And so you have to make those decisions. The game will tell you what to play sometimes, but are you listening? We'll find out amongst who is listening in this lobby.
We'll see. It's going to be a bit more of a balanced carousel now. There's like 5 players going for the bow. Asian Gamer wins it out and pings to establish dominance there. The mental game already at hand.
I will never forget being able to block people in their spawn point.
Oh, those were dark times for TFT.
Not for me. I had a blast, man. I was that person doing it to everybody.
It was fun. Actually, I remember like one of the first duo tournaments that TFT ever had. I was competing with Faye, and we would have like carousel strats. You'd be like, "Oh, like block this person from getting my item." Like, if they already had picked, it's like, "Oh, Faye, like block this person so I can get this thing." And it was fun. Was it a good thing? Probably not, which is why we don't see it in the game anymore. But it was still interesting times.
Interesting times. Carousel strats, I still believe, are there. I have a friend that I literally just take what they're taking. I will wait until they get out of their carousel cage and then just take what they take. And for some reason, they still hang out with me. But now that we have, this is actually really good. Take out a Nunu.
Yes.
Really, really early. So this literally has One Direction, in my opinion. And I wish I knew some One Direction songs to make a joke out of that. But just know I thought about
don't,
it.
So I can't bail you out of this one. I'm sorry.
I know.
My
I know, right?
musical scope is very limited, unfortunately.
I know, but the overarching theme, right, is this is a wonderful opening for literally anybody in the world of TFT. If you get that Nunu in these first 3 rounds, go Abomination, right? Because that Nunu is going to be the hardest thing to find, and you've already found the hardest part. Now you just need your brand, and you're good to go probably to win streak.
Needs the brand. Also went away from Draconic as well, having 3 Draconic. Gets another set. Sure, that is perfectly fine. What's his next shop going to be? It's another Udyr. Okay. So not rolling into a brand, not rolling into a Draconic. That is, of course, pre-level. But that's okay. Tay's still in a decent spot. Just has to make some decisions. Do I want to push levels? Do I want to just, sell and maybe consider... probably not sell. You would never sell in this situation. But, basically, do you want to level up or not? And, of course, selling these units on the right side of the bench could make a good argument for it, because then you can roll out Zyra or the Ashe a lot easier.
All right.
There we go.
Yep, we moved up to 4. I like putting the Brawler buff in, particularly for Nunu. We're going to be able to, have some dinner to start off because of that Brawler buff. As I get a little motion sick as we do a little bit of scouting, and actually the Kalista unable to get that ultimate off, and this Tristana, who is literally so cool, the animation's not even working when they are shooting so cool for school that that you're actually going to be able to take this just a death blade. I mean, I wish I was that cool to be able to like do my job without any sort of reaction. Right? Like that stuff is like that's just professionalism, you know.
It could be that. It could also be it's just, you know, it's so ingrained into you, it's just muscle memory, you don't even think about it, you just do it, and at that point you're really even enjoying it, you know, like, I don't know.
I wasn't here for ego loss, Khroen. Okay, so let's I don't need I don't need to go into my mind and think about the world when it comes to life decisions, but now I am.
I just felt like I had to play devil's advocate there.
It's true.
My
it's true.
dude.
It was good for all of us to have that POV, but unfortunately, even though the direction was easy, when you got the new, the heart of the cards wasn't on your side. We only needed either a Zyra or a Brand, and we would have the Draconic and or the Abomination. We'd be getting that Econ, but we did level up to 4 on level 1 to see if we could roll into the Brand on this round, and we didn't. So I think we just lose streak potentially, and continue getting gold that way, because you don't. It's nice if you lock it in at 2-1, but it's not the end of the world if you don't lock it in until maybe after the carousel.
Yeah, this is a fine spot to be in. Had a really good loss on the first round, only to 1 unit, of course, the one Tristana. This time loses to 3 units, not bad. If Tay wanted to start the win streak, I think Tay would have considered either slamming the Titan's Resolve on like the Nunu or something, or the Sunfire even. They're both fairly good options. Could have even done things like put a bow on the Callista, just like maximize the power, right, as to start winning. But Tay's okay, of course, with these losses. Going to still aggressively, not level here, but pre-level at least, to level 5. Just going to make those odds a lot higher to roll into the Draconic, because you do want to get Draconic online as quickly as possible. Let's see if they're able to do that. A lot of wow, 3 players at 100 HP, all going 5 at the last second into that round to protect the streak. It's like playing a game of chicken. You're like, oh, if you don't level, I'm not going to level. The one person does, and they just snap. They're already ready. They just respond in turn to try to protect that streak. It's so fascinating to see, actually.
That is such a good metaphor, playing chicken, right? It's like, who's going to click first, right? I'm so good, I'm not going to click at all, right? I'm going to lose streak. I'm inting. But at the end of the day, like those mind games, I think, are what makes TFT so amazing to watch, which is there is a lot of kind of mental, competitiveness behind a lot of these moves, right? Are you going to be stealing units? That's why I do like team games when it comes to TFT as well, and TV2v2, because the strategies are so much more open, right? And in these particular situations, sometimes doing something completely out there is what can level out the entire playing field. So we're at the beginning of a patch, and you can kind of do whatever you want. Right? There's only so much information that we have math-wise versus, oh, if you do this, this, and this is going to be the most power, in the game. We don't know those answers yet. So I like the fact that we're seeing so much variety in a competitive space, because the last time we did this, I believe most of the players just played old comps, and we're not really seeing that right now today.
No, we're seeing a lot of variety right now, and absolutely loving that. And variety in comps and variety in play styles, because that was 4 players that were level 5 going into the Stage 2 carousel. Like, there's usually, like, maybe 1, maybe 2, but 4 players? Like, that's insane. There's even the players in the game were commenting on it. I saw in the Asian Gamers chat box there at the top.
The big LOL, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that actually was the case. And Asian Gamer going to be doing a massive pivot from last game's start, trying to go on a full win streak this time around, slamming every single item possible. This time a jeweled gauntlet and a bow on the Senna. But not going to be enough, it looks like, to get through A-Ray's board. The Olaf, the skirmishers, a bit too strong.
That Nidalee, too, take a lot of damage throughout
really
that entire round.
Oh.
Yeah, I think there's a build that is getting moderately popular where you can get her to like 70-80% dodge.
Dodge Nidalee.
Yeah, you actually put her in the front line as a tank, which is funny because then she jumps to the back line and like all of the stats get wasted. I don't know, but there are some things that you can do if you want to do like a meme Nidalee build. I think the highest you can get to is like 80% dodge, but. Such a great early game unit, especially since attack speed's not that fast. Every dodge is that much more impactful, so Nidalee is going to find that value there at the early game a little bit easier, even without any cloaks.
Definitely. No Nidalee's here, it looks like. It's going to be Danodan versus Asian Gamer. Both players not at 100 anymore, but Asian Gamer wins that one out. Looks like that was a 5-0. A little bit unfortunate for Danodan taking a big chunk there. Jose Paulo all the way down at 68. Not the absolute lowest that you can be, but still being lower than 70. Gotta be feeling the heat, maybe full loss streaking intentionally. Not playing
From last
strongest
game.
board. Yeah.
Sorry, that was mean. That was mean.
No.
I take it back. I take it back.
No.
I don't though, because Jose did sell a unit, a level 2 Lucian with Radiant Thief's gloves on it, and it was definitely a mistake. And remember, the whole I went on this whole thing, which is like I'm gonna look at Jose's gameplay to see if we actually have the yips now, because the yips isn't just a one-time thing, right? You don't have it unless like it happens over and over again. And so if Jose maybe just has a bad roll right now, maybe the patches haven't been friendly and we're going to change things up a little bit later, but we've also seen Jose in this position before and win a lobby, so it is definitely not the end of the world. And we're going to struggle a little bit against Krugs before we start actually pushing some units here, as it looks like Jose also got a pretty early Nunu, but was also unable to finish off the Abomination.
Yeah, it was just a slow fight there because the brawlers not really having that many units. Jose is going to be on 50 gold level 5, however, so very much so playing that econ game very well. Scanning out the rest of the lobby to see what he wants to commit to, and it is going to be this attack damage focused style. There is going to be an Infinity Edge and a Last Whisper components already there. Actually has a lot of components at this point, and a lot of components that weren't slammed until right now. But these are going to be fantastic on a Nidalee mid-game carry. I'm curious where we end up with though at the end of the game. Likely to be an Aphelios, I think, from this position.
I was thinking the exact same thing. So funny that Nidalee with just a rod, I feel like, dodged more than the Nidalee with the a full completed Last Whisper on this particular round. And the Last Whisper was a good item for this round, again, because of those Cavaliers. You need to push a little bit more damage into it, but we just don't have a ton of damage on the board right now. We might be able to get rid of a unit with Nidalee and Kha'Zix, but we aren't going to be winning a lot of rounds, and it looks like that's exactly what the plan is right now, because anytime you have more than 50 gold before round 3-2, you're actually chilling, because that's free gold that you could use to level potentially at 3-2 and kind of have a little bit more vacancy over your choices.
Definitely. Jose is not opting to level 2-6 on 3-2 as the majority of players usually would be able to do that and still maintain at least 40 gold, make 50 in the next round. But I guess didn't have a great unit to put in and didn't feel like rolling down for like a 4th Dawnbringer or anything. With that, Jose definitely could have preserved a lot of HP, but this is still, as you're mentioning, a board that's going to be able to kill a couple units at the very least, and maybe even win the round actually, depending on how much Nidalee can keep on dodging.
Reminds me of Graves.
Okay,
Remember
maybe
Graves
not
in
win.
his smoke screen, where you're like next to him and you're like, I can't see. It's like I use magic missiles in the darkness. Is what they're doing to this Nidalee, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It just really seems to be up to the Mort God at the end of the day on what kind of Nidalee you're going to get. Are you going to be doing a ton of damage? Is it going to be an off tank? Is it going to be useless and die before we even transform? Right. So that Nidalee is going to be the anchor to this comp right now, even at tier 1. But it's going to be, along with Kha'Zix, the best way to take a unit down. We do end up going to 6 at 3-3, so this is the definition. And if you ever want to know what slow playing is, this is definitely it. Getting that econ. Slow playing means economy is your #1 priority, and now that we're at 50, you're going to be seeing a couple more moves get made because we have the economy to do it a little bit before everyone else. And that is why these bottom comps at 54 with Tay and Jose right now might be a mirage, might not be the weakest comps at the end of the day at like 4-1.
Yeah, Jose taking a bit more damage because the Kha'Zix didn't use his ability until right when the Olaf had a friend next to him, so the isolation damage didn't come through. Might end up being impactful. Jose is rushing for that stimmy, rushing for whatever it's going to be, utilizing the carousel mechanics to walk through the Lulu and Yasuo there. Actually gets to the Draven with the bow. Yeah, if you're practiced with it, sure, that's great. But oftentimes players will not risk it.
it's like in California how motorcycles can drive in between the lanes.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like if I had a motorcycle, apparently it's way safer, and it does make sense, but it's just as scary. So it kind of goes to TFT too, you know. If I can't ride a motorcycle, I can't do carousel strats,
Yeah.
obviously. But at the end of the day, you know, it's something that, you know, we should, even on the carousel. I like saying this. There are things that you can work on as little as they feel, right? If you're in a position where you absolutely need an item to be able to control your carousel advantages like that is really nice, no matter how simple they might feel. As 46 HP is getting into the red zone right now, but we do have some stronger units. We're moving into Draven right now.
Yeah, moving into the Draven route for the AD focus comp, besides for the Aphelios, it's just because, you know, there was a Draven on the carousel there. Can still be solid, maybe make that bow into a Runeans, and then, you know, some solid items. Jose is not leveling to 7 here. Doesn't value putting the Kha'Zix 2 in, even though it would have been a good unit. Wants to first, however, get that Radiant Blessing. We get to see what it is. What's Jose gonna get? This is an exciting part too. Like, what's the Simi gonna? Because you're gonna get that at the same time as the Radiant item as well. So, kind of double loading. It's like having your birthday and Christmas on the same day right now.
Oh no, my husband has a January 4th birthday. I totally understand what that's like. So we're gonna get an emblem, we're gonna get a tome, and we're gonna get a tier. So everyone also got an item component and that tome, and we're gonna have Titan's Resolve, which seems to be a very popular high-level Radiant item that I see. And I say that because when I watch people play from, I mean, even Diamond and below, it's all offense, 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 offense all the time, right? And what I've realized in most VOD reviews that I've seen on Twitch or something like that, they clearly state you have to build a front line, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to things like Titans and a little bit of beef added to your character, I really like that in these situations. It doesn't have to be a tank. We're having it on the Lucian right now because every time Lucian does damage, it will stack. It doesn't need the crit.
Yep. There we go. Lucian does get taken out very quickly, however, in that round. Jose pre-levels to 7, is very comfortable playing with a low amount of HP here. Even goes and grabs the Nightbringer emblem because it wants to be an Aphelios. There's nothing else. So we went through a Draven. Yeah. We're now going through a Lucian as just the units that are going to get you to the Aphelios. But we haven't rolled a single one yet. And we have to roll down on 7, find 2 more Dravens, find the MF, finding everything but Nightbringers and Aphelios right now, it feels like.
But if we do, right, then we're definitely going to start win streaking. Khroen, you sound frustrated. You want some action right now. I think that's a lot of people like rolling down on this round because the more you do on this round, the less you have to do on the next round, right? But we're going to econ and we're going to continue slow playing this into some 5-cost units.
Oh man, it's just like, it's just rough to see that Jose is trying to find the Aphelios so aggressively, but is rolling and hits like 2 Lucians, hit 2 Dravens again. Maybe has to just play Nocturne because he's not really finding anything else. And I mean, I guess we find Fiddle too, you find Nocturne too. There's an Aphelios, we're already past that at this point in the game. Nightbringer, I guess it gets a little bit of value because we're going to be playing Diana a bit later on, so it's not totally useless. I actually like this pivot from Jose. Is it going to be good enough to stabilize for like a top 4? Probably not, because there are just going to be matchups where you probably don't position correctly, and that's very important for Assassins. You get out of position, you're just going to lose, and we're already on 22 HP. There's no way we're going to get like Nocturne 3 in time to contest a lobby win. Yeah, it's just a bit rough.
Yeah, that Nocturne actually got eat by a Nunu in the backline, so we already have that Revenant buff proc out. It looks like this is going to end up being a dub anyway, but after waiting so long, right, you kind of wanted a little bit more power out of what you're seeing right now. We committed a Nightbringer spat because we had, you know, an idea of what we wanted to do, but what I do want to compliment on is the fact that they bailed on it. Right? I think some people would force the Nightbringer still based off of the fact that you built the item, but you know, it might seem like a misplay, but I think, in my opinion, I actually really like the way that, you know, they adjusted to where the game took them. Right? They weren't being hard-headed in terms of strategy, so it might not end up working out at the end of the day, but I agree with you. I think that pivot was good. It wasn't what we wanted it to be. It wasn't the cleanest pivot in the world, but to be able to see that play through the ocean of possibilities was pretty impressive to me.
It definitely was, and I think even Jose could have been and probably was thinking about the assassin pivot even earlier than that. If I'm thinking back to what the tome actually granted, it wasn't really anything great for the assassins, and Nightbringer I think was the only thing that was going to be actually able to be utilized there.
With Diana.
And yeah, we act because of course, because with the Diana, and we get to see how it does into Devless now as well. Assassins are going to be good at this point of the game still for a while. We do have the Pike now with blue buff and the Shiv, which isn't amazing, but it is good enough to win these rounds. Devless has rolled down a lot actually to 10 gold, but doesn't really seem to be that strong. Landed on 4 Forgotten, 3 Sentinels. Still has a bit more work to do though, but this lobby is a lot closer, I would say, in HP comparatively to our last lobby. There's maybe a couple of extremes, and it is going to be, of course, Jose down at the bottom. And Dino up at the top is, 8 HP, higher than Buzzy Boo.
Yeah, Buzzy Boo seems to have control over this mid game pretty well. I think that's a big reason why Buzzy Boo landed in the top 3 last lobby. But the biggest difference that we're seeing in this game is actually Tay, who was in first place almost the entirety of the last lobby, but is struggling a little bit more now since the high rolling activities of 5 spatulas from Tay last round isn't repeating itself, as A-Ray with that skirmisher Pike in the back line is going to get trap clawed, but it's going to have to get to that ultimate first. And it does look like the Trap Claw did go off, and so this MF is going to help get that debuff onto everybody, and now it's all just a matter of time for this Irelia is what it should be, but with that ultimate up, that's going to be able to eat a ton of auto attacks, may actually take a unit out because of that. That could have been a 5-unit win, but it ends up being 4 because of how tanky and how much damage that Irelia can actually end up doing at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. Now over to Buzzy Boo's point of view. Buzzy Boo rocking with a lot of things right now. Some skirms, some sentinels. Most of the items are on, tier 1 units, though. There's Riven and Lee Sin that had, 5 complete items between them, too. Radiant Zephyr going to be on the Olaf. That's great, because it gives attack speed to the whole team. And you might be able to sell the Olaf later, so you get to replace it, get a lot of value in a specific fight. Get to, I believe it's 10 seconds of CC. Yeah, that is a very, very long time that you can kind of delete a unit from the game for. And okay, this is Buzzy Boo going to 8, has played the econ game very well with HP to get to here. And now what are they going to land on? Lucian gets found, so it goes in 6 Sentinels, 2 Cannoneers. Here we go. Good items for the Lucian. And we need to start upgrading these units, though, because when Sentinels can struggle, it is going to be because the front line is just too weak and there's not upgrades there. Buzzy Boo does have the gold to be able to, keep rolling down in subsequent turns, and has the Warmog solution to guarantee the Sentinel shield does go there. So I am liking this from Buzzy Boo. A solid start to the pivot. Needs to still continue, though.
Lucian with a really nice window to that Soraka in the back corner. That actually might end up being the game changer at the end of the day, and that's exactly what's going to happen. One unit moves to the right, 1 hex, right? Your Soraka is completely open to be taken down by the Lucian, and so no mana reef for you. We're starting to get our units on the board. We're starting to see our 5-cost units pop up. Literally, no, I think people have Kale blinders on at this point in time. Not even mouse hovering over that unit right now, as we're starting to econ once again. Really good econ management from Buzzy Boo, and we actually got kind of lucky getting the tier 2 Senna out of 15% hit on that 1 cost.
Tier 2 Senna is nice. Pretty decent deal, I think, would say, between Senna 1 and 2 on the bit of the damage side there. Buzzy Boo, I think, got kind of lucky in last matchup, and probably this one as well, to run into some weak players, because oftentimes what happens when you're transitioning that much and you don't spend a lot of gold, your front line is all, 1-star, then you do get punished. This matchup maybe is not going to be as good for Buzzy as I thought it would be, but Lucian's still kind of holding out, and yeah, okay, it is going to be a Lucian win? Question mark? Yeah, it is. It was closer than I thought it would be, though.
Yeah, without the Bloodthirster, it would have not happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Bloodthirster is the winning item in that situation. It's so crazy how so many things go into how someone wins a round, but at the end of the day, sometimes it's, well, I have a Bloodthirster, right? It's 2v1, I have a Bloodthirster, I'm going to be able to win this based off of how much damage I'm going to be able to mitigate by doing damage. much, and Lucian is so good at mitigating damage by doing damage with that Bloodthirster. And in terms of items, we actually 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We should at least get one component here. And Nico's is going to be it. Apparently, I cannot count, so the Nico's is going to be used a little bit later on. Maybe if we can find maybe a Galio or something like that, or we go into a 5-cost unit, we get that pair and we put that Nico's on, but not necessarily the item that we needed in this situation.
Not really, no. Buzzy in the situation did find Rel 2. That was a big upgrade. Trying to find some more, and finds an extra Olaf to be able to swap these items. That is great. Still, finds Aurelia pair. We need that to be tier 2 though. Zephyr, where is it gonna go? Running into Jose, who's running, of course, the Assassins. Can Zephyr the Pike? Not bad, but Lucian might be in a bit of a rough spot here into the Nocturne.
Yeah, Jose actually not losing since we took we left their POV and their perspective at Lucian taking a little bit of a vacation in the corner right now, but it's looked like it's going to be a moderately nice vacation where we're going to end up leaving the island solo, but at least we end up leaving at the end of the day as we go into Banana and Pajama and look at who's hanging out in between the Aphelios. It's so funny to me when I see like a tier 1 4-cost unit and then a tier 2 5-cost unit at this point in time. But yeah, it's some action stand happening right now with Akshan with some good items too.
Yeah, I believe this Akshan was actually tier 2'd even on stage 4. It's not moving to stage 5. This is pretty insane. We have a pair of Garens as well, and all of these great Hecarim items are going to go there. We have 4 Knights, we got Rangers, Akshan and Aphelios. This Garen is so well itemized. Like, this is every player's dream to see this kind of itemization for their Garen.
Actually insane how many Yordle comps or Hellion comps we saw last game, and I don't think we have any in this one. It's definitely been more on the auto attackers. Akshan now going a little bit of a ring around the rosy. That's going to be really good going up against the Abomination. You're already seeing that debuff on him. The GA is only going to help a little bit, and that is going to be a round win. And Tay staves off elimination by 1 HP. And the top 2 from last lobby are in the bottom 2 this lobby right now. And that goes to show how flexible these comps need to be. I think in terms of tournament play, you're going to need to be able to rock 2 or 3 comps at this point in time.
Yeah, definitely. Also goes to show, you know, tight this competition is. A lot of great players. Tay, it was the difference of the Thresh dying, and very barely did. So probably will be struggling to hang on. They were on 5 A-Bomb though. 5 A-Bomb generally can, you know, get in some top placements, can pull away lobby wins. Jose hanging on, has actually rolled and hit the Nocturne 3. From his spot, being able to hit Nocturne 3 is actually really impressive. Had a lot of great positioning, a lot of great matchups. Has a Viego as well with the Nightbringer Spat. It's going to get stuck on this Garen for a long time though. Garen with the Bramble, and while Akshan is just pumping so much damage.
Yeah, it's all up to this Garen, and I mean, it's pretty much a taunt at this point in time, right? When it comes to these units, you see it with Jackson, that first skirmisher comp with some Ironclads. This is a taunt. That's how I kind of consider it. So who do you want your Garen, you know, to taunt assassin-wise? That's how you want to get that positioning going, and that positioning was perfect, as Jose Paulo, who has the ability to win these rounds, needs to absolutely position accordingly to win those rounds. Anytime there's an assassin comp in your lobby, friends at home, things have to be different. That's just how the world works when it comes to TFT and assassins.
Yep. Oh, Banana does get the Aphelios 2 upgrade with this on the carousel. Gets the last Whisper there, which isn't super impactful because Akshan does have some, you know, innate armor shred. But still, Aphelios 2 is going to do a lot of great damage. Let's see if Banana decides to roll to try to find Garen 2 or just sit on what they have. They are on 50 HP. They can, you know, wait until perhaps stage 6. Looking fine for now.
Not as fine as that Garen looks.
A
lot
Garen
of
is,
yeah,
yes.
a lot of that Garen has a lot of swipe rights on that profile, I'm sure. As we are going to go up against the Sejuani, who actually could compete with Garen in terms of tankiness here, but Garen has a debuff. That's the biggest difference. As Akshan also going to provide that debuff on everyone around him, but is gonna get out in the nick of time with barely any HP. Ring around the rosy, and and they're actually going to get through that front line because of that true damage. Ooh, love the Radiant roll on that Yasuo. That couldn't have gone better, actually, for Dino Dan when it came to that particular comp, especially RFC with that Garen, with that true damage. Voila, as we get another stimmy.
Yep, Banana in Pajama now below 40 HP. 40 and below, you do get it. What are they going to pick up? Sentinel is pretty decent, actually. It does give the 3 Sentinel buff. Also, Dino Dan was on 8 Yasuos. Only needed 1 more to get the Yasuo 3 online. That would certainly be a fantastic power spike.
That's the comp I think of when, you know, you think of, oh, new patch, no one's playing the old stuff. That Nightbringer comp can totally top 4.
Oh, yeah.
As Asian Gamer, going to be going on the AP side of things. We have the Teemo, not necessarily a Hellion comp. This is a Karma comp. And the random targeting needs to absolutely land onto this Akshan, not during the ring around the Rosie, but we're going to go ahead and do a little peeling. We do get a lot of damage, and it's going to be Akshan against the world, but instead we're going to get cut. And Banana in Pajama going to take that round loss, a pretty brutal one as well.
Dino Dan hits it. The Yasuo 3 is online, has the Udyr 1 just for the Skirmisher buff. Love to see it. Gonna be getting a Gargo Stone Plate from the Dragon. Probably just finds its way onto Lee Sin. Also the Shojins for the Aphelios. So Aphelios did get changed a lot, like when it came to the PBE for 5.5. Now a lot of his power is in his ability. And so getting to that Shojin, getting to that ability more frequently is going to send out a ton of damage. Gets to buff it up with the Death Blade as well. Irelia goes in over the Udyr. Good find. The front line's still not great, but we do have things like 2 Knights with that Knight emblem and, you know, Ironclads in here as well. So this is decent.
And that Thief's Gloves roll was actually pretty good.
This is solid.
Is going to give attack speed along with the Rage Blade as well. So this is going to be a, I mean, it is going to be a blur how fast this Yasuo is going to be attacking at the end of the day. Let's see if that true damage will be what they need to go through a lot of this front line, as well as be protected with that QSS.
Dino Dan, Yasuo 3. I mean, the Aphelios gets hooked in. Yasuo's still alive at about full. Nightbringer shield still needs to proc. There it is. It's massive and takes out Devless in 5th place. Asian Gamer. Oh, Asian Gamer actually falls to Buzzy Boo. Double Elim, but Asian Gamer does get a top 4 there. Good work.
Nice kind of run back for Asian Gamer. Unfortunately, Jose finishes in the same position as they did last time. So this 4th week, the curse might have just taken a day off because I did. Maybe I'm the curse, right? And then unfortunately, it is now just catching up. It's like a Final Destination, right? Yeah. Exactly. It's Final Destination, and instead of death, it's me, the curse. Of the 3 weeks.
You were here for the 3 weeks, that was 3 weeks, so Jose is gonna, do a bit more, a bit more rough.
It's my 3 weekers. As Banana in Pajama, was that a show, Bananas in Pajamas? I feel like it
doesn't ring a bell for me.
Yeah,
not sure.
I think
they have Garen too, though.
Older peeps, yeah. The guarantee. We also have the Shiv and Bluster. These Radiant rolls, not awful. Definitely nothing I would consider a complete miss when it comes to these units. Because look at how good it is against this Garen. This is exactly the type of situation you want with this Yasuo, and with that Bloodthirster too. You're actually going to be pretty solid. You're going to get 2 shields and die. At the end of the day, we get through that Garen, but. Yeah. I think that might be the only unit in the game that might legitimately be able to get through that Garen with those items. Unfortunately, maybe some better items could have been better, i.e. Last Whisper, for example, as this one also not terrible. The Rabadons for the ultimate should help one-shot some squishy units, and the Shroud we've talked about before. It's 3/4 of the board getting mana reaved.
Yep, it does give mana for all the allies as well, so it gets Aphelios to ulting faster. It gets Rel to ulting, but maybe she won't because she is just a tier 1. Needs to place the Shroud in a good spot though, and it looks like he's going for misses the majority of the board. Yeah, you can see it on his face. Wrong matchup. See if it's gonna be. Oh, gets both of his carries Zephyr as well. That was the massive thing.
Zephyr's so strong, and the fact that there's two is not your favorite thing in the world, but we're starting to get that Aphelios to ramp up, and enough taking us actually from the Yasuo doing some really good stuff, that dodge helping. This isn't over. We only need one more ult, and we might be able to take down this Yasuo, but we're standing still, and we aren't able to get through onto that illusion. Not enough attack speed as we're into our top two, and they're pretty much even at this point in time. We get a little bit of a preview matchup here as Buzzyboo does lose out against Banana in Pajama, who is already facing them off 1v1 as we get some completed items on this carousel.
And some components as well. See if anyone's going to make use of the components, but it looks like no. We do have a third item for the Ukshan now coming through. It looks like it's just going to be another Rune Ends. The Aphelios, I think, had full items. Yeah. Last Whisper, Jeweled Gauntlet, and a Zephyr, just because that's where Banana needed to place the Zephyr at that time. Still a good board. Did win against Buzzyboo the last round. This Garen certainly is a massive factor in that happening. It comes down to positioning, though. Dodging Zephyrs is going to be key, because there's two Zephyrs on Buzzyboo's side and one on Pajama's side, so this is huge mind games right now.
Yeah, and that's the reason why you're seeing so many changes in positioning until the very end, as they're going to get the Thresh and the Aphelios. The Thresh, though, going to be a little bit shorter. The Aphelios going to be hanging out a little while longer, as Akshan actually not really landing in the greatest place possible, but we do get out of there eventually. All eyes for me are on this Garen. The fact that we do have that shield and no Volibear means that everyone getting full value out of that shield, but the Garen, gets another ult off in the nick of time, and once again, this Garen too strong and too big to get broken through on that front line, and we have a lobby win for Banana in a Pajama.
Banana in Pajama, a great second game here. Was that an Ukshan carry? Was that a Garen carry? I mean, a little column A, a little column B, because they both certainly did a ton of work. This lobby is great in terms of the comps that we're seeing. Like, there's actually a bit of everything. We saw so many, Hellions, but then none in that game. It feels like we did get to see Yasuo 3 with the Aphelios paired there. There's just a ton of action going on, and, as we wait to see the scores, I think the scores are going to be a little bit closer than most weeks as well, Boop, because, the top two from the first game not having great results in the second game as well. Like, they're really shaking up for a really intense one here, and it looks like we do have them ready.
Yeah, the lobby completely flipped, and you're actually seeing the two people who stayed with their positions actually in the top two, right? This is the definition of consistency wins TFT.
Yep.
Right. So, like, you can be Tay, you can be Banana, but since you're polarizing on the leaderboard, you're not in first place. But you're Buzzyboo and Dino, who have top four the entire time, the only ones to do that. They're in the top two. That should tell you something.
It really does. Buzzyboo 14, Dino 14, then Tame, Banana tied at 12. A-Ray, Devless, Asian Gamer, Jose down the line. Jose in 8th place, definitely a surprise. The curse is coming back to strike. Jose is a player that, could definitely come back from behind, have a string a couple of firsts together, and still contest maybe not a lobby win, but at least a top 3 to be invited back. So still anyone's game, right? There's still 2 more games to go. It's close enough. No one's out of this yet.
Oh, no, not at all. The 10-point split hasn't happened just yet. That's kind of like the mercy rule, right? If you're 10 points behind someone, you're probably not going to make it past them. But as we enter the half, I believe, especially since this is the first, big session for a lot of these players in a tournament setting on this patch, that it's going to continue. We'll see if a top 4 style is going to end up winning the day at the end of it.
We will see, but first we gotta head to a bit of a break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Fight Night Rising presented by Wisdom. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fight Night Rising, presented by Wisdom. 2 games are in the books, and 2 more still left to go. It is a tight race, though, at this point, Boop. What have you been seeing these past couple games that, is kind of getting your gears grinding? What have you liked so far?
The fact that those two lobbies were completely different, were friendly
Yeah.
to completely different play styles, and the standings show that, which is actually really, really interesting. I thought that this meta is flexible, but it's flexible enough to where certain play styles are starting to show up a little clearer in certain lobbies than others. For example, the AP versus AD play style we got in our first two.
Yeah, it definitely is. That was, partly how the opening carousel did, kind of shake things up. It was a lot of tiers there, and I think the radiant item selections for me have been interesting as well. There was some that, like, say, if I was in that scenario, might have chosen something different. But everyone's gonna be approaching things slightly different. Maybe some players are prioritizing more utility with those items, or just say like the blue buff. I think the radiant blue buff selection that we saw in game number one, kind of surprising, but it worked out very, very well. I think it actually was the one that got the first place because it landed on on like a Timo or a Heimer or something of the sort, and actually did amazingly well. So that's been a lot of fun for me, and seeing how players navigate through getting the stimmy, getting the radiant blessing at 40 HP, and all the emblems, because we've seen a couple of tomes now come out from that. So not that much diversity in that regard, but it could be components, it could be just a bunch of gold. So we're still in for some surprises, I believe, in the next couple of games.
Yeah, we saw not A-Ray, we saw Tay run a Hellion comp with 5 spatulas in the first lobby. That's how many of these stimmies and emblem packs that we've gotten. And 2 of them were Hellion spats. 3 of them, one was Ironclad, one was Cav, I believe. So,
Yep.
that feels like there's a lot, right? But what that really is doing is kind of putting a little bit more power and skill expression and choice to the player, because they had 4 different choices or to come from when it came to
Yeah.
those emblems. And so what are you going to do? Are you going to invest in defense or are you going to invest in offense? You have to make that decision now, as opposed to going Draven's good, Draven with these items are good, I need A plus B equals C at the end game. Now you can't plan for it as stringently as you could have in the past. The end game is a lot less predictable in terms of
Yeah.
the intangibles.
Definitely, and I think that concept, I think, is then accelerated with how much the lack of shadow items, I think, changed things. Like, this is still new set point five. Like, players have still not gotten fully used to it, depending on how long they played on the PBE versus having it be about a week out. And this patch actually is gonna have some sticking power, Boop. I'm pretty sure Mort and the rest of the team said, like, there's gonna be 3 weeks without a patch because even riders who work in the game so much need a break too. Mort does so much, the rest of the team does too. So we're really in the initial stages of where this meta is going to start solidifying itself, given the fact that there's not going to be a patch for a while.
Totally, and I think that's okay, right? When you let a patch breathe, you get situations, especially at the early stages. I bring up Donkey Kong a lot, but I'll never forget how that was the meta for 2 days,
Yeah.
right? And everyone played it for 2 days, and then finally some people were like, "Wait a second, I think I'm just having fun." We're not maybe playing the best comp possible, because reroll comps back then, Wukong was very, very strong, but at
Yeah.
the end of the day, right, I think forcing comps is a little bit weaker in this patch right now. I think you can do it, like you said, with Hellions, maybe some of these early game comps, say you have 6 Dawnbringers for some reason at 3-4, right, you might be able to force that kind of thing, but it seems like everyone, especially with these emblems, keeping things pretty open and pretty flexible until they literally have to make a choice.
Yeah, definitely. And with the fact that in this B patch coming to this game, the very standard comps that people did force were nerfed. Like Cav MF is something that player could literally go 20 out of 20 and still perform perfectly fine. Same with Soraka, I believe. That was kind of one trick by some players. But this is definitely a meta that rewards some flexibility, as we are going to be getting on into game number 3. Halfway through, seeing still a few players going for the bow. Asian Gamer once again wins out on the bow, it looks like. So maybe going for some attack damage focused compositions with that.
Attack damage versus ability power versus tanks, right? I feel like this is the best rock paper scissors situation we've had in this game in a while. All 3 versions pretty viable, as Tay also saying some ankles be broken during the carousel strats, friends, as ooh, Ooh, a Zyra and
Okay.
a brand. Okay, so this is also what you call direction. As much as a Nunu is direction. Oh, okay. You're probably going to pick up
This
those
is
Callistas.
Andy Udier.
Yeah, and the Udyr. This is very simple, but we already saw this particular comp almost exactly replace Zyra with Nunu, right? Completely bonk without getting the brand, right?
Yep.
So now this is why I said Nunu. It's so great because that's the hardest one I think to get in these situations. So if we're able to hit that Nunu pretty soon, that's our 3 A bombs. We don't even need the Nunu. It could just be set as well. We need 1 Nunu or 1 set, and we still have 1 other round to go before we have to lock something in.
One more round to go. For now, it's going to be placing the Udyr in. Is it going to be an item component? Is it going to be gold? It still could be both. Double cloak, a bit awkward. I guess Dragon Claw is very interesting now coming into this set because it does have a bit of a the damage for it now. It launches a bit of a fireball at the person who deals damage to it with an ability.
Yeah,
Has a bit of a cooldown, but that's still neat. Doesn't make
it's got a
cloaks quite
counterattack.
as doomed. Yeah, because usually in the past it's like, okay, you get cloak, it's a BG. We're going 8th, but not quite as drastic thing now. But still, cloaks are generally going to be built with other items. Like Runeans, I think is probably the top one. Bloodthirster too. Maybe not so much of the other ones. Maybe a Gargoyle Stone Plate if you're feeling frisky, and that's what the components that Banana has at this point too. Probably will wait for at least 2/2 armory to come through though.
Imagine that Declaw on Carrier Asol from set 4.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would have been either amazing or completely broken. And that goes to show how hard game design is. I'll never forget when people were talking about a card game. There's a card that's a 1/1 charge, and they say this card has blocked more creativity than anything else in this game right now because we can't do anything because this card exists, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we're at that point in TFT, but hopefully we never do. But when it comes to these itemizations, I think that's where that kind of does ring true. Oh, no, I got this. I might have a little bit of a struggle. But the upside of that Dragon's Claw now is the people that you put it on are usually people who don't do damage. So it's literally just extra, right? You might put it on a Tristana if you're feeling frisky, right? But Tristana's already doing that damage and is not going to be getting hit with those abilities as frequently. So it might be, paper cut type damage, but death by 1,000 paper cuts is a legitimate strategy sometimes.
It definitely is. I'm curious, Devlis is at 82. Is that like a DC or something? Hopefully not. Didn't look like they had a lot of gold either, so hopefully we'll get that sorted out. But it's Dino Dan. We switch to. They do have a lot of gold, I think, because they only have 3 components right now. Sword on the Kled, Cloak and Vest on the bench. Couple Nightbringers, couple Renewers, early Recon. Yeah, it looks like Devlis is DC'd. Wonder if that's gonna be a remake or not. We'll see.
Okay, we could potentially be open fording. You never know.
No.
That's what I like to say when I DC and lose an NPC round. Oh man, that is so unfortunate, Devlis. Computers only do this when you need them to work, is something that I've noticed, and so unfortunately we got the technology curse from Devlis. But
Tech
TFT,
diff.
I know, internet diff, I guess.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, TFT is not a game where this particularly means you're gonna get 8th. At least you're gonna hit 50 gold. You're gonna come in and maybe be able to roll down to something lucky. It's definitely close to the end of the world, but we're not quite there yet. There are mechanics in the game to help people like Devlis come back into it.
True, there's the Radiant Blessing, 40 HP, you get your stimmy online, and that's certainly a big deal. And whatever it gives you, whether it be the emblem, the gold, you get that faster than everybody else, so you're able to spike at that point. I'm curious to see how many players are aggressively going to 5 this game. We know there's at least one, Buzzy-Boo on the other side of the board, up against Dino Dan, going to be trying to be the 100 HP player. And that's an aggressive slam onto some early Olaf items, right? The Hand of Justice, the Glove as well. We're not making a Quicksilver. That would be a bit too aggressive in the item slams, but we're still at a good enough spot here to take out Dino Dan in a 4-0.
So I actually love the fact that you use the term aggressive because I have a pretty heavy question for you. So in terms
Sure.
of this patch, what kind of play do you think is more rewarded? Because we've seen Jose play very passive, right, and get 6th.
Yeah.
I think our players who are making decisions aggressively are actually performing better that might just be a little bit of a heuristic observation, but I think people making choice intentionally earlier on seem to be having the ability to choose the direction a little bit more and set the pace, which like someone like Tay seems to like doing a little bit better than having to play, from the middle of the pack.
That's actually a fantastic question, and I think I'm not going to find quite an answer to it right now. I think this could be discussed for like hours, and we still wouldn't come
especially
to
with us, right?
To a conclusion. I mean, just in general, I think in the TFT scene, because there are very strong incentives for both styles of play, be it just level up insanely strong. Granted, you have a decent opener, right? You can't just level up and have like just such a crap board that you can't do anything with. But there's also the argument that depending on what comp you're going to go, you need that 40 HP Skype, or excuse me, the spike. I think we are going to be actually restarting this game, or hearing word from production, so we can get Devilish back in and in an actual good spot to win the game rather than losing the initial neutral rounds. So we're going to go back in soon. So we get a chance to, reset, refresh, maybe continue this conversation about the aggressive stuff, Boop, and yeah, I mean, thinking about it, what was I saying? There's incentives to lose streak to get that Stimmy online, and I think those come in with a lot of reroll compositions. So I don't quite know how to evaluate it right now, because with the reroll stuff that got nerfed, I'm not quite sure where it kind of shapes up in this meta. Players know that high rolling early game, getting into these boards like Heimerdinger, Teemo, Ivan Volibear, these late game just like massive threats is going to be amazing. But how do they stack up against a very well thought out, a very well crafted reroll composition? I think that's really where the conversation kind of is going to have to go to.
Okay, so now that we're going into some potential shenaniganery when it comes to these lobbies, something that I want to really discuss, especially with this particular patch, is the impact of having what feels like less choice between the shadow items when really it's providing you more opportunity. Choice and opportunity are different, in my opinion.
Yeah.
A choice is something that you get to make. An opportunity shows itself that you get to make choices out of. And I think in terms of opportunities and choices, this particular meta that we're seeing and style that we're seeing from everyone is just, it feels so open. Right? Like I said before, I think the shadow items were a little bit of a too much of a good thing situation, like too much Halloween candy, too many ideas were placed there. And I'm really enjoying a little bit more of this really good vanilla play as we get the lobby started again. I wonder if that's going to affect anyone else's starts. I know some people are probably a-okay with something like this. Other people, especially if you're high rolling, would be a little frustrated, and that might affect the rest of your game. I've seen people completely mentally break off of remake. So we'll see what happens, but it just goes to show this is another opportunity to start working on your mental for the next step in your TFT career. This is going to happen to you again, right? So if it affects you today, what are you going to do tomorrow to make sure that it doesn't the next time?
You need a strong mental to be a solid TFT player. It's a thing that happens, whether it be tournaments, whether it be ladder. Your mental's fragile, and you just then you just start queuing up games. You're gonna be minus like 300 LP on the day. I know so many players who actually kind of fall into that rut, unfortunately. So start building a good mental early. Tournaments,
exactly.
It is hard to do so, but it starts with the ladder discipline.
Ladder discipline, something I do not have. I don't know what it is. Like, even if I'm like playing something and I like it, I'm having fun, and all of a sudden a meta snapshot comes out. It's like, this is an S tier comp. I will drop it. The second time,
nope, not for me anymore.
not for me. Losing's
so
more
crazy.
fun, I guess. And someone's like, winning is fun, Chris. And I was like, but I want to win my way.
It's so like
I'm gonna do it Frank Sinatra style.
Yeah, it's crazy. I just can't wrap my head around. I understand it. And you describing that to me, it's like, okay, you liked playing that way, sure, but I can't wrap my head around me believing that and actually following through with that myself. It just does not compute. I have to play meta. Having the highest % chance to win is the most fun for me. It is fun. But you do, I think we've had this discussion before, you do learn a lot, playing off meta stuff and actually seeing what sticks. And sometimes you'll find something and be like, oh, it's actually going to be really good, and this is going to be the meta. It just was undiscovered until that point. But then I suppose once that is the case, then you'll drop it for something else.
Yeah,
Unlucky.
exactly. uh, and so the overarching theme, I think, of what this meta is, it's whatever you can make it.
Yeah.
And you know, I might be joking a little bit, but that's totally true, right? Every comp seems to be able to make it to the late game, and it's how you utilize that comp to get there to actually make it happen. They don't have as much, all these comps don't have as much staying power as the other ones, but most of them will get you to a 4-5, 4-6, 5-1, right? And what you do after that is a whole other kind of game right now, especially with the stimmies, with the emblems. Things just aren't as predictable as they used to be. As we get 2 Callistas to start, it really seems like everyone totally cool with starting A-bomb if the game gives it to them, but no one's really forcing it.
Asian Gamer certainly is forcing the bow start. Once again, wins the bow on the carousel, breaking everyone else's ankles. Maybe it'll turn into a Callista too. Could turn into A-bomb. Does not have to, however. We do get some gold here. Oh, we get a Nunu. 3 gold in the form of a Nunu. Any brands? Hey, there it is. And a set as well. Fantastic opener. A-bomb already online on 1-4.
Whew. Okay, so this is exactly what all of these other players wanted
Yep.
when we saw this start, right? When you have this start, it is win, win, win from this point on. You can be very aggressive in the early game with this particular start, no matter who you are, what items you like to use, do whatever you want, right? And like, this is a good opportunity for you. Unfortunately, it's just going to be, RFC is not awful, but it's going to be Last Whisper or RFC on the Abomination. If they choose to invest anything at the current time, we do have an armory coming up, so we're probably going to end up waiting. But we already have 2 brawlers, so Nunu's going to be doing some eating, and there is just not enough attack speed or power in the game to take care of this Abomination unless someone has really high rolled themselves into an Abomination comp.
Yeah, a lot of players leveling up to 4 certainly at least want to go on a win streak. Asian Gamer is going to be very strong. Probably doesn't have to slam any items here because just having the A-bomb is probably enough power. Does actually make the RFC. That is very, very, very interesting to me. We'll see where he takes this into the mid and late game. Probably will win this round though as soon as a couple units fall and the A-bomb pops out. Just gotta wait. Here we go. A-bomb here, online.
Hey, how's it going, buddy? Arnie,
And
nice
round
to
win.
see ya. Yeah, this is going to happen every single round for the next 5 rounds. Most likely, Asian Gamer might actually be able to turn off their computer and still win the next 3 rounds. And,
oh no, don't curse the tech, Boop. We don't want any more tech.
Oh, that's
issues.
true. I'm sorry. I
Any
did bring that. It's like
DCs?
saying 7 at the craps table.
Oh gosh.
Okay, so we have the A-bomb. We have even a Dawnbringer if we want it, and we are going to pick it up. It's going to be the Riven instead of the Soraka for the Legionnaire on the Callista. So Callista even going to be pumping in a little bit more damage right now, and a Callista ult at this point in the game is going to take down a unit. And you're wondering, I'm sure, why is Brand in the front line? Well, when the Abomination loses, when the team loses a couple units, the Abomination pops out. So if you want the Abomination to frontline for you, you actually kind of give your lambs to the slaughter in the front line to get Arnold to come out and get some revenge.
Exactly. Belt goes on the Nunu. Let's make that into a Warmogs, perhaps a Sunfire as well. And of course the RFC Slam on the Callista means that this Abomination is probably not going to remain here for long, at least until like the 4 and 5 A-bomb trajectory like other players may want, but it's just going to be a bit of a early and mid-game power spike, kind of like, you know, the Cultist of old. You run it as a, you know, just early game power, and then you transition out of it at a certain point. It's just the question of when Asian Gamer decides, hey, I've gotten enough value from it, I found enough other units to try to start making my transition.
And so we're looking over at Tay right now, and anytime you see someone start Vayne, they're probably in last place. When it comes to the way these openers are, probably one of the weakest opening units in terms of winning rounds, but can take down units, especially if we're running it solo with just the Vayne. And we're 0-2 so far. 86 means I believe we've gotten close to wiped on the last 2 rounds. Let's see if we're going to be able to take a couple more units down. We have good items for a Power Rangers or an Affiliates comp later on, but we have to get there.
Definitely have to get there. Yasuo already on the board for Banana and Pajama. I'm thinking about the RFC that was on the other board. It could be RFC going on Yasuo too. That's one of his best in slot items for Asian Gamer. Tay going to turn this loss streak around. Vayne still in the back line, still alive, along with the Varus. Has pre-level to 5 as well. Has not committed to any item slams, so probably after this round may consider finally summoning the item. It's just basically all offensive. I mean, there's the cloak that goes in there as well. Spatula on a brand. Curious to see who scoops that one up and what emblem will be created.
Yeah, these emblems are absolutely insane in terms of how they can affect these late games, especially if you're able to make one on your own and not have to depend on, you know, the Stimmy or the tome to get you an emblem of a random choice. You get to make that decision yourself, which might help the next choice even more, as we do get that tier with that set. We're gonna get our second Varus and potentially 2-star in Olaf. But this is a complicated start. This is where a lot of people can struggle in the early game, where, you know, say you're potentially missing out on some units, not playing best in board, losing by 1 or 2 more units than you want. But there's really nothing you can do in this situation other than hope that Vayne gets 1 or 2 of those units off the board and we're not hemorrhaging HP by 3-2.
No, Tay still not summoning the items. I mean, it could be like a Shojin for AP comp. I mean, maybe we'll still see someone run the MF Cavalier kind of style reroll there. Just depends. A lot of options still open, and that's a very intentional decision. Unfortunately, is not able to full loss streak. I think Tay would have been very okay with that, just lose streaking by a couple units, losing by a couple units each round. Is however chain some wins together up against A-Ray, who is rather weak, making money, 20 gold over there. Buzzy Boo goes from a high roll opener last game we had to remake to, unfortunately, looks like a low roll opener this time. But that's okay. Yeah. Still a very fine strat.
A-Ray winning the pillow fight, or I guess losing the pillow fight, which is winning the pillow fight against Tay there for that particular round. So we're actually going to be making a lot more money than than Tay for A-Ray. So A-Ray is going to potentially actually get a better turn. You know, we're all watching the Olympics. It's really important for a swimmer to turn really, really well, and A-Ray kind of in that same position. We're going to Asian Gamer doing it a lot too, which is you go there, your turn needs to be perfect. How you come out of that turn is going to depend where you finish and how you transition out of it. So A-Ray is going to have to make that choice here very soon as the Khroen, one of the best early game tanks, and you're seeing exactly why right now. AoE healing for that front line. Front line's so important, but man, just not enough damage coming in from this Vayne and too much damage going into it.
No, a very intentional loss there. Wanted to make gold as they were playing 4 units at being level 5. Finds another Vayne, finds a Syndra, a couple other redeems. Does put one of those in for the night bonus. Looks like just keeping the options open even still. Could be a redeemed comp. Redeemed boards honestly like aren't that great, I think personally, at least what I've seen. Like you can still make a Vel'Koz composition work. Some redeems may have like a Varus, early game carry to get you there. But by no means are players gonna be aggressively going for it as much as we did in like the kind of the Lux meta in the previous set, where everyone's just if you get a Lux, sorry, GG, get some good items, there you go. There is Misfortune though. So we could consider the Cavalier Misfortune reroll, because Tay is sticking with it as opposed to selling it for Econ. And it does go in. Here we go, Shojin Slam. Alright, let's see how it performs.
Okay, so we are seeing this for the first time today. Very interesting. The MF, you might think auto-attack based, but I don't think any version of MF and TFT has been auto-attack based.
No.
It has been completely, the Make It Rain is going to be more ability based, and that's why you're seeing the Shojins on the MF, and we're going to be developing that mana as quickly as possible with hopefully some attack speed help later, but not completely necessary, as we do get our first ult, and it's awful. Only getting 1 unit, but we do help burst them down. And this is why this comp can be so good, is because there's not a lot of AoE damage like that can do consistent damage. It's almost exactly like APMF on Summoner's Rift, right? Where it does really, really well at this point in the game, but we'll see at the late game where this stands, because that's where a lot of the changes have affected it.
Yeah, and it's nice to be able to get these wins, and because Forgotten's kind of like the warlords of old now, you know, they don't benefit from shadow items anymore, but each combat they win in, it does increase the attack damage and AP that they get, so I'm going to be doing even more damage after every win. Does stack up to 5 times, of course. Buzzyboo, going for a bit of a Nocturne care right now, Rageblade, and Runeans. Rageblade not the best in slot, maybe would want like that Last Whisper plus Deathblade or IE pairing with it, but not going to be terrible. Can level up for Nightbringers as well, at least in a solid unit.
Oh, we haven't seen any of that fun Assassin Lee Sin stuff, shenaniganery just yet. Assassin Lee Sin getting very popular right now, and for good reason, because it's very strong. Not only are you going to get utility with the debuff, if you got something like a Rage Blade on it, you also have a off tank in the back line who can debuff attacking units, attacking you and other people. So something that, if available, I definitely would go after. And we already have a Lee Sin 2 on the field as A-Ray, high rolling a little bit. This is the turn that I was talking about, right? When you're lose streaking, the second you win, you have to make a decision, right? We have to either keep doing it or we're going to restart our economy. And right now, A-Ray is in the midst of that turn. Let's see where it ends up.
In terms of the assassin spats, I think it's going to be seen the priority is probably going to be like Fiddlesticks. Fiddle Assassin's amazing. But Lee Sin probably like right under that in terms of the effectiveness that you get out of putting Assassin Emblem on somebody who is not traditionally one. See, Buzzyboo lands on Assassin Emblem. Once we get to 40 HP, seed the Stimmy. Is it going to be another tome? That would be 3 games in a row.
I feel like I see the tome most often as well. I think it's the most fun, but we'll see what we get. Sometimes it's just gold, sometimes it's item components. It's a variety of, again, different opportunities to create choices, as Senna going to continue shooting with feathers, apparently, as their ammo, and going to get taken down at the end of the day. This Nocturne with Buzzyboo is always going to fall to the bottom of the leaderboard. We saw it with Jose Paulo, but what Jose wasn't able to do was stabilize and climb up, finishing in 6th place. Will Buzzyboo be able to do it?
We'll have to see. Buzzyboo is going to be granted that Radiant Blessing at this point. The Stimmy's here. Being at 37, did find a sword. Fantastic item for a Nocturne. Scouting out the rest of the lobby. Dino Dan, still on 100 HP at this point. 6 skirms. Jax having 2 items. Very solid. I'll check that out a bit in the future. Here it is. Ooh. It is some components, some gold, and a Reforger, it looked like. See where those end up a bit later. But Dino Dan,
the Reforger
100 HP.
is interesting. A lot of people... I had a friend the other day get 2 Reforgers on the opening creep round. And I was like, what are you going to do with those?
Save him forever.
And then we ended up with he ended up with 4 Reforgers at the end of the day, and so basically we just tried to get back to the original items, which is what we did with the Reforger. We try to cycle back to the original items that we had on the very last round. As the Abomination does pop out, we've got 2 people on fire right now. It's Dino Dan going to continue to be on fire. No worry on that Abomination, which is usually in its strongest point right now. But, you know, a bunch of the other comps seem to be able to take care of it a lot easier right now, as I think Asian Gamer was the other Abomination player. We're actually at 78 HP. That is not the place that we would expect, as the Fist of Fairness, which is my favorite name, I think, in the entire Radiant Armory. But yeah, the Fist of Fairness going to be going on the Jax. That's pretty close to best in slot.
Here it's not the Dvara stone plate, the one that's
the Dvarpala stone plate. If anyone in chat knows who Dvarpala is, let us know. We were trying to figure it out earlier.
Maybe we're just like really dumb, and it's like something like super simple. But,
yeah, I know, right? I think we're just overcomplicating it. Like, it's like a magic eye. We're seeing through it as we get another armory here, and it's Dino Dan going to continue with that win streak. That Jax is so strong.
Oh yeah, especially with the Fist of Fairness at this point. That's a great item to round things out. You get the AoE with the Runeans, it's pseudo AoE. Bloodthirster for healing, and I mean the Hodge is going to be just more healing. You get the shield as well with the Bloodthirster proc. But I wonder if Dino Dan is going to stick with scrims here, because they don't have to. Scrims can just be a kind of pivot point into another comp a bit later on. And I mean, we're holding a lot of scrims, also holding a couple of knights. But I think Dino Dan moving this Thresh around very rapidly is like being like, okay, do I really want to sell this? Probably if I don't get 40 gold here naturally from the wolves, but we don't gotta make that decision because 40 gold either way. In fact, 44 could make econ, but we have to sell a lot of pairs, and we don't want to do that. Dino Dan, however, is still, of course, in a very, very good spot at this point.
Very good spot. Yeah, I would probably go fast 8 as well. And it's not just Dino Dan, it's also Jose, who have both separated themselves from the rest of their lobby. You look at the bottom, unfortunately, Buzzy at 15, who high rolled that last game in last place. Right now, 15 Tay at 37 started off so strong, but seems to not be had the highest of high roll games that we could possibly imagine. The salad bar of synergies, unfortunately, not really helping, but we were able to upgrade a couple units. Devless having the Shadow Shojins on the Vel'Koz. So it seems to be more about number of ults with Vel'Koz at this point, and then go into the power of the ultimate. But we're looking stylish in our hat. I wonder what haberdashery the Vel'Koz went to find that Rabadon's, as we find the first loss for Dino Dan because of it.
Yeah, Devless having the redeemed emblem. The Vel'Koz, of course, having the I think a Spear of Hirana is what it's called.
Yep.
Instead of Spear of Shojin.
Nice.
15 mana. For auto attack, definitely a fantastic use. It's basically like 2 Shojins in one.
Basically, 15 is a lot, especially in terms of how much mana a lot of these units do have. Some of them don't even get to 100, so having that 15 each is very, very nice. I'm not, it's probably not like the best Radiant item in the entire world, but on some people, you can definitely find more value out of it than you should, as this is a Draconic 5 comp from Jose with 2 Nikos. We'll see how we use those. Jose seems to like playing slow, so I'm assuming these 2 Nikos will be there until we need them.
5 Draconic is so accessible now that Galio is, of course, amongst the Draconics. You can even get 5 Draconic as early as stage 2. Galio having Morello's, being a bit of the item holder. Can he get the spell off? He does. Udyr 2 carrying these 3 items is a bit rough for Jose to be on. Like, you're probably not going to win every single round with it. In fact, Jose has lost the last 2 rounds and will lose this one. Yeah, maybe kills. Okay, perfect loss.
Oh, what a pro, Yasuo. That dodge on that snare.
Yeah.
Man, that was fancy. My, this Yasuo is already 0-10 apparently. With the
hit the power spike.
Buff. Yeah, hit the power spike. So we're going to get a nice little stimmy there. A spat and the...
It was a Reforger and a couple of components.
Yeah, the item Reforger. And then we still have these golden eggs, none of them that big, right? So those are only going to be units, most likely. But we do still have those 2 Nikos, and that's always a wild card.
Yeah, the 2 Nikos at this point. I mean, Jose Paulo has stabilized in HP, or at least preserved HP very well in this lobby. I think once, like, one... I mean, what do you go for this? You could go Ukshan if you go, like, a fast 8, roll 1, couple Nikos already there, boom. Could still... go into things like a Heimer, because this Fist of Fairness and even a Rage Blade could be great for a Heimer. It would be a little bit awkward to have the Death Blade, but it would be okay. It is, however, continuing to chain losses back to back to back.
Yeah, that Abomination is the weakest Abomination. That's, that's prepubescent Arnold right there. When it comes to, we don't have all the biology to make our muscles as big as we need right now, right? And so, that's like 12-year-old Arnold versus like peak of their career Arnold.
Yeah.
That they were facing. Still pretty strong, but we could still go stronger. But Buzzy Boost solidified themselves at 15. Tay, though, unfortunately not doing the same thing. A-Ray, it really seems like sometimes that these players have strong comps, but they seem to just lose against comps with better positioning, better itemization. But at the end of the day, right, we have a huge separation between our top 4 and the bottom 4 right now.
Oh, yeah.
Which means that Devless and Asian Gamer and its Dino Dan at 70 have so much attrition that if they lose the majority of their next games, they could still probably find their way into the top 4.
Definitely. I'm really curious to see what this is going to give. It is a component. All right, so already farming components at this point means that this A-bomb could be a bit stronger if you want to slam like a D-Claw. Yeah, it does go level 8, slams the D-Claw, finds 4 Abomination in with the Callista addition to this comp. mean, this is solid. Jose certainly won't lose to that many units. If he does lose, might not even lose. Oh, this is mid-transition turn. It looks like for A-Ray, putting 3 items on just a Jax 1. Level 8, no pair of Jax either. This is probably one of the best matchups Jose could have asked for.
I think there's one tier 2 unit for A-Ray right now, so a true baby brigade. That's what I call tier 1 unit comps in the late game because they're so tiny compared to the other ones, as that baby brigade actually wins the round.
Yeah.
23 HP, cutting that lead in 4th place down to about half as we get a large rod this time, which would be great if we had any other component other than this chain of vests. But we might make it a locket anyway, but we've really got to get these items off of Udyr eventually.
Yep, that's definitely going to come through at stage 5 at the very, very latest. We already have the Volibear waiting to go on board. Same with the Ivor, and already considering putting it in right now. And yeah, it does to swap the Morello in there. Takes out the 4 Abomination. We're back down to 3, but a Volibear is probably worth it.
I would say so, especially with all of that, potential shielding that you're seeing. The Volibear will just delete all of that shielding. Unfortunately, for Jose Paulo, he's the one getting deleted as Buzzy with that Aphelios, Deathblade, Rageblade, Hurricane. So good, especially with the changes that you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
You want to get to that ultimate as much as possible, especially with those Deathblade stacks. You're going to be taking down most people per ultimate outside of your Ironclads and your Knights.
Definitely. Oh man, we're here for a roller coaster ride with Jose, going all the way from the top of the HP to nearing the bottom is 30. Oh, we need to be clearing the item bench because, yeah, there's components, so puts the items... Wait.
Oh, we still need more, I guess? Okay,
no, it was just you're already on top of it, so like it bugged out. I guess the code wasn't up to standards there. But okay, now this is the very pivotal point for Jose. Where do we go from here? Do we actually commit to Ukshan pivot? Is it... I think there was the... Is there a Heimer on board? No, there's not. So it did roll past the Heimer, I think.
So this is actually really good because remember Jose waited around to do this last time. Actually, we didn't do anything last round. The last time we were in this position, we get 2 Heimers here. So that actually makes things a little bit more confusing. Hopefully, we roll into the last Heimerdinger.
Yeah.
We don't have to invest a Nikos, but we're just gonna go for it with the Akshan and put the Heimerdinger and 2 Garens here. So if we just waited on those Nikos, we could have potentially gotten a Garen 3, but I do like this idea. I do like the fact that Akshan is in this game and will be able to make their name known. Once you hear Akshan go, it's time to make a movie, friends, as we're going to be spinning around that map and taking some names.
Oh man, this is such a rough turn for any TFT player. You got to do so much in such limited time, but all the items do go onto the Akshan. The Nikos as well to get him to tier 2. Do still have some components on the bench that we're going to make use with in the next round, but okay, this is a very key round to win. Doing it mid-transition, still having a lot of pairs to hit is amazing.
Close lobby, man. This is a really close lobby.
It is.
This will not be going to round 7. Too much damage across the lobby. Literally anyone can still win this, maybe other than A-Ray, but we do have some special emblems right now, and it's going to be that Invoker. And I love that picture because it's that stereotypical optical illusion you have in your sophomore psychology class. Is it a cup or is it 2 faces looking at each other?
I've never thought about it the second one, actually. Oh no, you've ruined me. It's doomed.
I know, right? Because I love that picture, and it looks really, really, it's pretty. I like that it's white in terms of being able to see the differences between this is a different kind of emblem, but it's also, 2 people kissing or a cup, depending on what you want to see.
I see the cup. I'm gonna remain to see the cup. I'm firm in that belief. And Jose making a renewer emblem on the Garen. Still is only on 3 renewers though, a little bit awkward, but still the board's just so strong at this point. This was a fantastic pivot from Jose. He made a lot happen in a short amount of time over the last 2 rounds, and there was a lot that was done.
Especially with 2 Nikos, that's so many more choices to make, right?
Yeah.
And
the bench being
we're
so
very
full
close,
as it was.
Yeah, we're actually very close to be able to call this a Bill Gates type of comp. We have, for me, a Bill Gates comp has 4 5-star units, right? This one's got 3. right now. Oh no, it's got the 4. So I mean,
There's,
I think we
Gwen,
like this
Volley,
is
Akshan, Garen,
yeah,
yeah.
Garen and Gwen, and we actually have a
Oh,
Garen
Heimer as
2
well,
now.
actually. We have 5.
Yeah, so we're fully on Bill Gates at this point in time, which is scary because Bill Gates has this many synergies. Right,
Yeah.
with this kind of spatula shenaniganery, right? So with the Renewer spat, with the Invoker spat, oh man, this is going to be a really tough team to beat. I am willing to say this is the strongest comp on the board, and will need some bad positioning by Akshan to. This comp is going to need to lose the round rather than another comp, like rather than just winning it, right? I think this comp has to actively try to lose.
The Akshan has to like enter really, really hard.
Yeah.
And there's like force of nature factor as well. So like Jose has a 9th unit on the board, as opposed to just being 8, can still level up to 9 as well. And just look at how much damage this Akshan is putting out. The Garen 2 now. Even Gwen, like Gwen, did she have any items? I don't think she did, but she still did about like 5k damage there.
Yeah, Gwen has a really interesting ultimate too. I think it's like 2 armor MR or 1 armor MR debuff every time she uses her ultimate, so she's actually helping everyone else on the team. It's it's just like how Garen does it, but over time. Right, and that's still really strong, as Buzzy Boo has stabilized and actually knocked out Tay in 7th place again. Banana and Pajama, man, these topsy-turvy lobbies, dude. In 8th place, A-Ray on the brink of elimination. Asian Gamer talking about getting dizzy in TFT. That means they're getting a little bit confused when it comes to choices. But again, there's less items in the game, but way more choice right now. I'm absolutely loving it.
This lobby is very, very close. I mean, the eliminations that did happen were like -5, -3. They barely were there. Now A-Ray and Asian Gamer on the chopping block. Buzzy Boo being on an 8-win streak with this Ranger board did take the Radiant Thieves Gloves as well. And this is a good roll on the Thieves Gloves for the Lee Sin. That Bramble and the and the Hand of Justice, or Fist of Fairness, I suppose, being the Radiant version. Gonna be fantastic, being able to provide a lot of damage, some healing, some tankiness. Just needs the Aphelios to be surviving in the back. Has 2 Banshee's Claws as well, being able to block some spells, the front line and the back line.
All right, let's see if we go to the moon against Asian Gamer here, as we have a little bit of a Spider-Man meme happening with these Yasuos. This... Oh my god, that Diana ult into the back line, absolutely destructive. But we have the shielding. That's only going to be temporary because of that ultimate from the Aphelios. We're already at 120 extra damage. There's another one of those ults, and this is all but over. Power Ranger is going to be coming through. It's morphin time, friends. We're going to the moon.
There we go. Only 2 Rangers, but they're still so powerful. Asian Gamer dropping in 6th. Couple more Aphelios being found, but just wants to hit the Diana and does. Another good roll on the Thieves Gloves for Lee Sin once again. Buzzy Boo trying to secure that top 4 finish. Looking like it's definitely possible. Needs good Diana positioning though. Needs to dodge out some Viegos, or like being the opposite side of Vel'Koz too with this Aphelios. Positioning really, really matters for this board.
It really, really does. We should be getting an elimination pretty much every round from this point on, based on where these stats lie. Double Warmogs, but only tier 1. We do have a couple redeemed spats, and the Gwen kind of decided to take a little field trip into the back line and you know, unfortunately throw a little bit. Devless is going to get the Volibear ult off, but only get 2 people in it, and we haven't even gotten through. Oh my goodness, where was it? Was that? Oh, it was Lux. I was like, where did the HP go? Lux 3 in the back line, you know, just hanging out with that jeweled
Can
gauntlet.
She win?
I think so.
Oh my god, she gets one more ult.
Oh, that was literally timing. Lux can win that 1v1.
Yeah.
Now that I'm seeing that, if the ult was a little bit later, or if we were, I think, 2 auto attacks faster, we win that for sure.
Yeah.
But that is a winnable round for that Lux.
That's insane. I'm getting, oh no, I'm getting some harsh memories of the Lux 3s just 1v9ing forever. I'm not a fan of that. I'm sure a lot of players aren't as well. Yucky, but no, certainly a great built Lux. I think it was only a Vel'Koz 1 as well. It's like really all the power was there in the Lux.
And
Gunblade
that seemed to be okay at that point in time. Jeweled Gauntlet Shojin's on that Lux, meaning that, well, we're not going to be getting to that ultimate faster due to attack speed. We will in mana generation. So
Ooh.
Definitely needed to be talking about that as Ziodan does finally get that tier 2 Galio. And we have a best slot item for the Garen, which is that Hextech Gunblade. Now, not only are we going to get shields, we're going to get even more shields because the Hextech Gunblade is going to give us a shield for doing all of that damage.
Yep. All right. The quick swaps, the W key for Jose
W key, Jose.
Yep.
W key.
That is some good micro there. And was they actually thinking about reforging the Gunblade as well, but decides not to. Decides to keep it on the Garen. Oh man, the Akshan has fallen, the Garen has fallen, Heimerdinger in the back, now tasked with an impossible task to kill the rest of the board, so Jose will take this loss. Buzzy continues the win streak.
Wow.
Jose saying, OF. That's something there.
Okay, so it does ring true elimination on this round as well. Remember, we do have a force of nature on this board. So we have 10 units right now, but 10 units, even though you have 2 whole hands of units, it still wasn't enough to take down Buzzy Boo, who I feel like has been at 15 HP since like round 3 of this lobby. And this is the second time Buzzy Boo has kind of stuck on like a barnacle on the bottom of the leaderboard, and then just all of a sudden powers up, Thundercat, go. And here we are in the top 3 once again.
Jose also with his best placement so far tonight already, being in the top 3. See if he can make it a top 1, going up against the redeemed board of Devless. The Akshan gets thrown into the back line by Syndra. He's going to try to make his way back there, though. Dodging the Vel'Koz damage is important. Gets thrown back line again, but yeah, the redeemed not going to be able to do enough damage by far. No. Devless being limited in 3rd. Looks like Buzzy Boo going to be winning that matchup. It's down to the Akshan, the Garen, the Renewers versus the Aphelios board for Buzzy.
This is our shortest lobby by far today.
Yeah.
The first lobby went to 7-2, I believe, which is like a whole like 15-20 minutes from this point on. So very interesting how much, when a lobby is even, the games actually go faster, which is interesting. Another way to extend a game is, say there's someone who has 100 HP, everyone else is kind of falling behind, but all of a sudden the bottom 2 people start getting wins over and over again, and everyone kind of sandwiches together. That's how you get those longer games. But if everyone is kind of close in HP, it's probably going to end around this point in time, and that is going to be what's happening here, as both players have 2 rounds that they could lose. We might be able to sneak into 7-1, but these comps are either going to win by a lot or lose by a lot. And right now, it looks like Jose is going to be winning by a lot. Was that enough? One more round, friends.
Oh no,
one
the
more
early
carousel.
GG. The early GG from Jose says, I'm awkward. That's some bad manners there. Jose, you gotta forfeit now. That was just unacceptable.
No, and we actually got a good item for our Heimerdinger too, who is already tier 2, so we don't have to worry about that. But we're going to put that Heimerdinger in the front line a la Ari, so we can get an ult off, because all of my Heimerdingers just make cannons.
I know, right? The other one, the baby dragon, the turret falls, and then as soon as the cast comes through, it's like, oh, it's going to be big damage? Nope, just kidding. It's just resummoning the turret.
Yeah,
Never mind.
I'm not sure in my games Heimerdinger has a secondary ultimate. So we'll see if it happens. But that's why you'll see, anytime you see AP in the front line, it's really, if someone has a singular ultimate that's that impactful, that's why we'll get there.
The Diana, though, this time is positioned really well and jumps into the Heimer. This could be a totally different fight because of that.
Yeah, jumps into the Heimer, who is reaved as well, but we do get a not the best Heimer ult, but it's going to end up working out anyway, and not enough stacks on that Aphelios to survive through this, and it is going to be Jose, who has had a day of emotions today. Accidentally sold the Radiant item carrier in the first game, Illusion 2, bombed out in 6th place with a good comp in Lobby 2, and finally takes the Lobby win. Remember, this is a 3-time, I believe, champ coming back here, representing the Philippines, I believe. And we'll see if we're going to be able to continue climbing up the leaderboard, because it always happens. Someone in the last lobby, someone from the top will inevitably fall, and someone in the bottom 4 will inevitably top 3. It always happens.
Yeah, the scores are certainly going to be shaken up after that one, Boop, with Jose coming back. So let's go ahead and take a look. we're gonna be having Buzzy Boo still the most consistent player, and I think we had a bit of a change. Buzzy Boo did get a second game number two. I'm not sure if that was displayed at the time, but either way, 23 points for Buzzy Boo in first. Dino Dan also consistent, just a little bit less so than Buzzy Boo, being a 19. But Jose, was in last, was in eighth coming into game number three, but with that first has now put himself in the top three conversation.
If the format was checkmate, I think we'd be here till like 2 in the morning. But I think you have to really understand, like, okay, this is the format we're going into. Is it single elimination? Okay, single elimination probably means top 4 is better to play, right? Is it going to be 4 lobbies and that's it? Okay, now first or eighth kind of comes into the equation. you know what I mean? And so you have to kind of understand your surroundings and decide how you want to play it. And the first or eighth mentality can work, but Jose has been playing slow. Tortoise in the hairstyle, right, has been the tortoise in a lot of this, and might end up winning the race at the end of the day. It might end up all working after one of the most egregiously bad mistakes I've seen on a fight night. To have that same person, come back and potentially win is actually, I think, a wonderful story.
It is. That would be crazy. That would be pretty hype as well. I mean, what is 7 points behind Buzzy Boo at this moment? Yeah, Buzzy Boo 23, Jose at 16. It is possible. Buzzy Boo bottoms out. Dino Dan doesn't get a great placement. Could be talking to Jose yet again for, I believe it's the 3rd week in a row. Did top 4 for 4 weeks, but this will be the 3rd win in a row. It's certainly a hype storyline potential, but also be nice to get another victor in here as well. Always like talking to some new people.
Yeah, and Jose is continued success. Jose is not someone who is a stranger to any of these players. If you're familiar with, OCE or that region at all, Jose. Usually top 1, 2 on that leaderboard. And so we know how good of a player they are. And to also think about the fact that they're living on the opposite side of the world and still playing with us is so cool to me. I still won't, the internet is fantastic for that reason. Yeah. But to have that kind of consistency, it only really happens. And whenever I compare you to Numano, who I think was the best ever Fight Night Rising competitor that we've ever seen here during that time, like, that's a good thing. And I'm definitely getting some of those vibes, because I think Gunmei has the record for 13 weeks, but Numano won, I believe, 6 out of 8 weeks they were here.
Yeah, like 6 or 7. It was some ridiculous number. I mean, you're better at the stats than I am. You just have that ingrained memory with it. So I'm gonna trust you on that one. But yeah, definitely when talking about the best Fight Night Rising competitors that we see in terms of their success, is definitely Numano, definitely Gunmei being the top 2. So to put yourself in that conversation, like, they're among some of the greats too. Like, Numano did take a break, or quit TFT, at least take a break. So we haven't seen Numano in a while, but like, Gunmei's had a lot of success in the competitive space as well. Like these like Giant Slayer series tournaments, Gunmei did super well in. I think like at least one of them. I remember because I was 2nd place to him at some point, but he was just absolutely cracked on that day. But yeah, just some great players come out of Fight Night Rising. So to be able to add Jose's name to that mix out of already a fantastic OCE player is just really nice to be able to do.
Yep, Gunmei, I believe, was the first ever time I saw Battlecast win in a professional environment. Battlecast
reroll, Kog'Maw.
Yeah. Isn't it so crazy that was like 7 months ago? 9 months ago, like, it wasn't that long ago.
It's not that long ago. That's crazy. TFT's only been a game for like a couple years at this point.
Yeah,
like
2 or 3 years,
2.5,
maybe. Yeah, but it feels like we've gone through so many journeys together. I love it. As we get into the last game, and we're riding along with Dino Dan right now. Again, everyone can win. Literally, almost everybody can get into the top 3. Right now, no one outside of the top 3. I believe Jose Paulo can still take that top spot if Buzzy, who apparently has a date.
I was seeing that too. He's like, when's gonna be over? I'm trying to go out on a date.
You're gonna be able to use your winnings for your date. You gotta win out in order to get that free. What if TFT pays for your date? Like, how cool would that be to be the opening line? Yeah, I won this money that I'm spending on you. I don't know. I would definitely buy into that.
Much? That's probably a bit too much. Trying to flex. I just want to tournament before here, but I'm still here on time. We got a nice $100 for nice $100 to sponsor this date.
Next time I'll win another tournament, we'll take you somewhere nice. That's how I feel like that's going.
Hopefully. Hopefully it goes well, Buzzy.
Yeah.
Now
Good luck.
I'm invested. I'm so curious. I want to know how it
I,
goes. I'll tweet out Buzzy later.
something I always say: if I was able to get married, everyone should feel good about themselves. uh, so
And again, I'll say you're too hard on yourself, Boo. Too hard on yourself.
it's Dino Dan again. Who we're going to the Stone Age right now with our dinosaur brethren, and it is going to be a pretty common opening. We have that Rage Blade, we have the Morellos, and we have a Nikos. So.
Not a lot of gold, though.
Not
a lot of gold. Unfortunate. Double Nocturne Shop is interesting, to say the least. Probably not what Dino Dan's going to go for, but we could have a Nocturne 2 right now. I'm just going to throw that one out there. Could be a thing.
Could be a thing. Exactly.
I'd be tempted for it, to be honest.
So this is why I wouldn't, right? This is kind of my thinking process. I've seen this Nocturne comp get sixth place twice now.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not sure I'm going to be investing in that, particularly because the style of the lobby is still not defined. Right. So it is almost like playing Boggle again, and Assassins I feel like is enough of a Boggle game to where I probably would go with something a little bit easier to see the success for, if that makes sense. Because again, Assassins can win a coin flip whenever, right? Depending on where Nocturne lands sometimes, right? It could top 4 in every lobby, depending on, again, how good the rest of the lobby is. But it's just one of those comps that I think is a little bit too dependent on other people making mistakes as well.
Definitely is. And it was... Oh, I didn't actually notice. The shop was locked. Whoa, it's gonna happen.
Do it.
It's gonna happen. Oh my god. It is time, Boop. The 2/2 Nocturne 2 Rageblade Slam has a sword from the armory. We're gonna see some assassin action either dominate or plummet to the depths of HP in this game and be unrecoverable. But I'm here for it either way it goes.
That is amazing. So this is the earliest Nocturne. Even our Nocturne 3s were not here at this point in time. Our last Nocturne 3 didn't pop up until like 5-1 because it was a transition. And so the fact that we have this kind of direction early, so opportunity versus choice, right? So we have a couple opportunities and a couple choices right now, which is a choice can be, just hang out, pick up everything that says assassin and move on. Right, adjust your positioning every round. Scouting becomes a lot more important, or we kind of hold these items on for something like an Aphelios. But we already invested in Nikos, and it's just whenever you invest in Nikos and you're forced to transition off of that unit, that just feels extra bad. So
it does.
I doubt that's going to happen, and I doubt this Nocturne loses by anything more than one unit if it does lose.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing for Dino Dan is that the reason the shop was locked is because Dino wanted to still play a strong board on 2-1, kill some units, but didn't get to do that, still lost 4-0, had to effectively, I'll say, waste 2 gold because you don't get that extra shop refresh in locking, so did purchase the Nocturnes afterwards, and won out the round. So could have done that a bit more efficiently. We'll say -2 gold effectively, but still a very interesting spot to be in. This Nocturne certainly strong at this point in the game, and just with the HP and the Rage Blade, we'll be able to just out sustain a lot of boards. So this will probably be the rest of stage 2 being won unless someone has like an insane board, maybe like a random Kha'Zix 2 snipes it when it's isolated or something.
Okay, so when that Nocturne also wins without any damage onto it, that just kind of goes to show, in terms of that particular power level, we know Nocturne is sitting on top of the well right now.
Yeah.
As we're going over to Buzzy Boo, who again has a day. Everyone wish him luck. Hopefully, how cool would it be if in like a year and a half, Buzzy Boo's like, I married that girl.
That'd be a year and a half. That's quick. Maybe that's just me.
That is. I got married 2 years into my relationship. I'd say 2.5 years.
That's fair. It depends on it. It depends. Personal preference. There's a lot of factors going into it. I'm not shaming. I'm just for me.
Yeah. Of course, everyone is on their own timeline, right? And that's okay.
For sure.
But I met my husband and I was like, I gotta lock this down or else I'm screwing myself over. But now at 5 gold, no econ, but we could make it if we wanted. This is kind of our first Sentinel-ish opening that we've had. Sentinel actually not really showing up at all today, and when it does, it's losing by a lot. So unfortunately, not really seeing a ton of that right now.
It is potential for Sentinels to do well if you get a decent early game. You get a Lucian carry online. I think we saw a little bit of Lucian, at least in the mid game. For now, BuzzBoo is rocking with some skirms. Has a Kennen 2 as well, which is very early for Kennen 2. Probably will win the round, and with that can make 10 gold with the Callista. Seeing a Rel in the shop is, of course, going to be tempting in most scenarios. Not really right now. There's no Cav benefit, there's no Ironclad or anything like that. Actually, maybe going to lose this round as well. That would be a bit rough in terms of economy. And yes, we'll do it. So buys the Rel anyway. Says, screw it, I'm not going to make econ.
Screw it. Screw this econ. The Rel is always going to pay for itself eventually, I think. It is the best CC in the game. One of the few that can kind of compete against old Sejuani in terms of AoE stunning ability. I believe with the removal of Rise, there's not really anyone else other than Kennen, I think, that can really push like a large AoE stun like that.
Yeah, there's like Ivern has a little bit. I mean, Volley is going to be the big one, but he's legendary, of course. So it's
exactly.
Like,
you know, those get there a little bit later, and I guess Rel is part of that too. But the Ivern ult not as big, right?
Yeah, not as big for sure.
And the Ivern ult is also not providing shields to your team.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And
exactly.
So not only is it
as well.
Yeah, not only is it like a Sejuani stun, it's also a Lux shield. You know, and that's again why Rel and Lux go well together, because Lux ults gets the shield. By the time that shield's over or chewed through, Lux's ult comes through and you get that shield. And this one's going to be pretty close, but it's going to be the burn that prevents an extra unit taken down by this Rel and company. But we do have a couple win streakers on the top of the lobby, and we have Banana in Pajama who's doing the opposite. Getting in those pajamas quick, maybe trying to get to bed a little bit early, as Banana's feeling a little bruised right now at 66 HP. And so far today, the only person who's been able to come back from the bottom of the leaderboard has been BuzzBoo. So we haven't seen the nosedive get corrected outside of that. And so I'm willing to kind of say Banana's struggling just a little bit right now at the bottom side of the leaderboard, because all of our slow players have gotten 6 or below so far when they slow play in that game.
Yeah, BuzzBoo I think is in a fine spot right now. Has hit the Aurelia 2, hit a Lee Sin as well, 5 skirms. BuzzBoo literally just needs like a 4th place to guarantee winning for tonight. Maybe a 5th could do it depending on other players' placements. The only thing that BuzzBoo has to be worried about is the lack of economy. Not even having 20 gold at this point is a little rough. Sure, you could sell Rel maybe, or sell some other units, which BuzzBoo is thinking about. Wants to maintain the strongest board, maybe like losing by only 1 or 2 units, and also make 20, and it's going to be with selling the Rel. But Redemption, some good Olaf items. BuzzBoo is in a fine spot, I would say. Not amazing, but decent.
So you're telling me that we pick up the Rel, don't make econ, and then sell it to make econ later?
Well, we couldn't have made econ that turn anyway, so it's like a free Rel.
Okay.
So yeah, just sells it now because we can make econ. There's no reason not to buy the Rel earlier.
Awesome. And we have Redemption on the Irelia, one of the best holders for that, and you're seeing it right now. It's her W on the Rift, but that damage mitigation, especially with that Sentinel shield, actually piles up on that Irelia and gives you, I think, 2 procs of the Redemption, one during the ult and one a second or 2 after, which is really, really nice. We do make economy at 20 gold, pushing us to 27. The Deathblade on the Olaf is what's going to bring us our round wins, but we've been alternating right now, which has actually made economy a little bit harder. We're stable, but we're not really gaining or losing any of it.
Ooh, okay, now we see why Banana in Pajama is going to be towards the bottom of the lobby in HP. It's because they're going early econ to get the Misfortune, to get the Cavaliers online. Hecarim 2 has been found. Vayne 2, why don't we just hit everything? Why don't we? Has some solid items as well. Shojin, Hodge, both best in slot. Probably going to pair that with a Archangels or a Jewel Gauntlet or something, and we're going to be there.
Okay, so we're going up against a Draconic comp. Love me a Sunfire Cape on a Galio. We got to get it on there first. It's on the Udyr as we speak. No good Zyra ults. This Forgotten comp will win this 10 out of 10 times.
Oh, yeah.
And it rings true for us here. And it's going to have peak in power at about this time, too. So we have about 6 or 7 rounds where we can expect to compete for a win on every round.
It's just the timer of when can I get my 3 stars online. Like if we then in that 7 or so rounds find a Hecarim 3, that can be pushing that kind of outscaled timeline back a little bit until you then hit the other upgrades, MF and things like that. We need to start worrying about some Hecarim items. Hecarim only having 1 belt right now is not great. You do in this composition want to prioritize Hecarim items at least equally to MF. So hopefully the Radiant component, or Radiant completed item will be a good one, whether it be Warmogs or Bramble or something. But I would consider going a Jewel Gauntlet or Archangels as well if you're presented with it. Just means you can focus on Hecarim solely for here on out and hope you roll some good defensive components.
So this is not going to be close. Nice placement on that Misfortune Ultimate to get 3 units. Udyr going to go under right now, 6 feet under, as Buzzy Boo going to get closer to his date on every loss.
True, could just speedrun out of here. And what if he does? So it's like 5th or 6th, leaves for the date and we don't get an interview? That'd be tragic. I've just thought about that timeline for the first time.
I know,
It's
right?
actually a real possibility.
It really is. It really is.
Oh, no.
Well, right now he's just Buzzy. If he's going on a date, he got no boo yet.
True.
It's a misnomer, right? Someone needs to be Buzzy's boo.
And
Good luck that you find your boo on this date, man. It has been the best narrative so far in a 4th lobby we've had in a while.
It really is.
Like non-game related narrative.
I love it. Thieves gloves.
Ooh,
okay.
Nice roll too with the QSS. So that's going to be a little bit more dodge. We're going to dodge about 50-60% of the attacks at least that come our way, and we maybe have a Sirac roll comp with that Rage Blade on the Soraka. No Soraka 2 just yet, but at 4-1, if we haven't already rolled into it, it's probably not going to happen. I just wanted to say Sirac roll again because I really like the name.
It is. I like the name, Boop. It is 100% me approved. It replaces the other one, which I will not name on broadcast, so it is way better. I'm here for it.
Good. We do get that Mana Reave on. Not a lot of damage, but it is going to delay a lot of these ultimates. We get into the back line with the Nidalee, and this is where Nidalee is starting to shine, especially with that Rage Blade. Some damage does go onto her, but, I mean, you have to be able to hit her. In order to get those, in order to get that damage on there, and there really almost does it. This is close.
Wait, Raka?
Nope.
No,
Rocket's gonna lose this. Yeah, Buzzy
Unlucky.
Boo. Gonna take down Tay. Tay's been struggling ever since that first lobby, but Tay at this point in time is gonna get their Radiant items along with everyone else. Guardian Angel. The difference there is that you revive with 100% of your health, but it's going to be on the Soraka, so a little bit of Sirac and roll right now.
Oh, we're actually just hard committing. Okay, I didn't think this needed to be a committal to the reroll comp, but that could have just been a transition point, but it's going to be. Find the Recon, put it in over the... I guess we don't need to put it in right now, because we're missing 1 unit, which is escaping me right now. It's a Skirm. Why is it escaping me? I don't know. But anyways, this comp isn't where it needs to be, but the Death Cap is going to be a fantastic option for this Soraka in terms of dealing damage.
See, this Sejuani is usually what I roll on my Thief's Gloves. A Bloodthirster on Sejuani. It's going to be really nice when it comes to that shield, but you're not going to be getting a lot of auto attack damage off of it. I might be wrong, though, as it's still alive. I wonder how much damage it did at the end of the day as the Nocturne falls, but not really that big of a deal. This Nunu, once we do get to that ultimate, will eat that Soraka. No problem.
There we go. She almost got another ult off, but not quite. Gonna be... Oh, didn't Tay have cannons? Okay, so I was thinking, like, this composition usually runs cannon as one of the 3 skirms, like cannon, Irelia, and Nidalee. But it looks like we're not... Oh, wait, was somebody else have the cannon? Am I going insane? I think I am, because we do find the cannon, put it in. We do have 3 skirms. This is what the comp wants to look like, minus Riven.
Yeah, Tay lost to that
plus
cannon.
Pike.
Remember?
Got you. Okay,
the cannon got those last 2
I am
units.
going insane. It's too
okay.
late.
It's okay. New patch. It's later in the day, but at the end of the day, this has been an absolutely wonderful 4 lobbies. So topsy-turvy, and a lot of people still available for the win. Not even close to be able to call any of this, as we finally get to rock and roll a little bit with the Soraka. Ooh, the Zeeks on the Nidalee on this part of the board too, as we're going into a little bit more of a skirmisher type of experience here into that front line with that with that Nautilus, we do take out the Senna, which is going to be the first unit we do take out, especially with those Sentinels on board, and we're going to put those items on the Aphelios.
There we go. Get some good rolls. Level 7 roll down. The Zeeks is fantastic for a Ranger's composition. It'll be a bit until we find an Ukshan for the secondary Ranger. Might have to do with an Ash beforehand. Might be good enough to win even this round right now, though. It's relatively close versus Buzzy Boo, but Aphelios with another ultimate. Pike's on the backline as well. Uh-oh. Not able to deal with the Radiant GA Jax. Unfortunate. Not a bad loss, though.
No, not at all. Probably going to pick up the sparring gloves. Yes, we do. And now we're going to start rolling again. We're at level 7, and we are below that 20 gold point, so we might as well just invest everything at this point in time. Jose does pick up that Akshan to go along with the Aphelios. Now we have choices, right?
Yeah.
Not a ton of opportunities here, but a lot of choices right now as we're going to move some items along. We're going to make our board a little bit weaker for the potential to make it stronger a little bit later down the line.
I mean, units being like, you'd want to be able to play this Recon at this point, but there's just really no room for it. And Jose's like, how do I fit it? I mean, you can't, honestly. Backlining everything, perhaps. Gonna be locketing the Lee Sin. Doesn't get perfect value, but still good enough.
Unfortunately for Rakan, name's not on the list for this club, but Tay, it looks like not a ton of units there. Oh, hi Ramblin', how's it going? Is a very, very good content creator in the TFT space, very good player as well. Is Tay gonna take a very big loss there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units from Jose Paulo. That's a 7-0 right there.
Wow, actually, yeah, 7-0. Does sell the Rakan in order to buy the Diana and the Ivern pair. Finds now a Jax to be able to go in. Not only does it give the Skirmisher that he just lost, but also the Ironclad as well. Nice composition here. It's a lot more frequent that we're seeing comps that run things like 3 Skirm, 3 Sentinel, and Ironclads as well. A Jax can be a pseudo carry in a lot of these positions, and he might function that way in this game because he is going to be a holder of at least these like AoE buff items, or the like the Zeeks and things like that. Is going up against the reroll composition with Misfortune. That's double Shojins and then the Hand of Justice, so not really amazing. Is okay though.
I would, as a quick little suggestion to Mordog, I would love the visual for Misfortune's ult to be just like a tad bit clearer. Sometimes it's hard to see, I think, but when those ults do go down, and if you're having a hard time seeing it, just look where the health debuff is going, and you'll be able to find exactly where the targeting is for that Misfortune. And if you're able to get 2 or 3 units within it, just enough damage and enough time in the rain, it's acid rain for them, right? It's literally raining bullets from the sky, and they're going to be taking a lot of that damage down. But if you have, a pretty fast attacking front line that can move out of those hexes and push into the back line, that's where you see Misfortune really, really struggling. So things like the Assassins could get to that Misfortune pretty well. So that's where, if the Misfortune and the Assassins make it to the end of the game, right, that's going to be really interesting to see where those two kind of end up, as this would be a great pack for our, our Cannoneer player, but unfortunately for Asian Gamer, not really the best for them.
No, Asian Gamer going to be going Nightbringers. Asian Gamer, unfortunately, also over 3 games, only has 10 points. It is still possible for Asian Gamer to place at least in the top 4. It would have to come through with a lot of specific placements for other players, but you gotta play at your win condition. There is a way. A lot of other players finding some great upgrades. Banana finding a Thresh 3 there. I think Tay found like a Nidalee 3 even, so be curious to see that a bit later. A-Ray having, oh man, level 8 a Teemo with some really good items.
Teemo's this early is really nice for these auto attack based comps. Like, it's gonna keep people like this Aphelios and that Yasuo in check because of the attack speed debuff, along with the amount of damage that we're gonna be doing. So good itemization on that Teemo, like you said, as we barely get the win there for that Misfortune. Banana and Pajama actually losing that round. I believe that Misfortune was actually stolen by a Viego, and that's why Banana actually ends up losing that round.
Unfortunate. Viego providing such a fantastic swing in a lot of fights. Need to always be wary of your positioning around it, because one Viego stealing your carry fully itemized if you have no protection for it feels really, really bad.
I mean, sometimes you just got to call it a mulligan, move on. Jose Paulo did that after selling that tier 2 Lucian with the Radiant Thief's gloves that we're seeing on the Nunu right now for Dino Dan, who we haven't seen since we left that POV with these assassins, and we've only found 3 more Nocturnes since then. Right,
Yeah.
the rolling hasn't been super friendly to us. We still need 3 more to get our 3-star Nocturne, which is the win condition, as we have another pretty close lobby, other than Devless, who I think has been playing their best game so far.
Devless, yeah, is win streaking at 75. Okay, Asian Gamer gets down below 40, so we see what the Stimmy does provide. It's a bunch of gold in one component. We did see that Dino Dan was rocking a spatula, so that could become an assassin spat hopefully later. Maybe their components in between their
Nice pickup.
Radiant Blessing and their Raptor round can bring a glove. Let's see. 2 losses in a row for Asian Gamer. But the comp is still decent. We have the Aphelios upgrade. Very far away from any other upgrades, though, so probably just going to be pushing levels here and trying to make the board as strong as it can be.
Moving back over to Tay, who is on elimination station along with A-Ray. They seem to be,
Ooh.
holding hands either at the top of the leaderboard or the bottom of it. And this comp is not amazing right now. We do have a tier 3 Nidalee with not the best roll in the entire world. Times Resolve is okay, but at least we do get the stats, I believe, from the dodge. But this
Any
is
Sorakas? No.
Yeah.
Rolling past Aurelia as well.
Yeah, so rock and roll might hit the bottom of the hill here very, very shortly.
This is awkward on so many levels.
No ult from the Rocket
God.
either.
Okay, the Viego tries to steal Rocket again, does get taken out. So maybe actually Tay gets to live another round, have another shot at finding these upgrades, but I was gonna say, this is so awkward, because there's a Shiv on the Raka, which is bad. There's no items besides the Bramble on the Aurelia, and she's supposed to be your main tank. Maybe you can get a Gargo Stoneplate for her now, sure, because all these other items are probably not going to find any use. Double Thieves Gloves. Like, one Thieves Gloves on the Nidalee is like perfectly fine, but then utilizing 2 more components for the Riven, and she doesn't really do much here. Not great. Still rolling. No Raka 3, no Aurelia 3. Oh, here we go. I mean, you have to sell for it. Yeah.
Yep, that's the right move. So rock and roll coming in hot, playing live on stage. Let's see if we're gonna if everything's gonna work, right? This might be your first post-pandemic concert, and you might have forgotten how to do it. So let's see if this rock and roll is gonna be able to win out another round. 9 HP. Any loss will be an elimination.
Not bad items for the Nidalee. It is going up against Dino Dan, who it looks like just went 8 and rolled it down. Did not find any Nocturne 3s, though, fortunately for Tay. The Raka is not in a very friendly spot, though. Does go out. It's all up to the Nidalee, really, and the Aurelia, maybe to buy time. Wish you might. The Nocturne got stunned. Nidalee's still alive. Oh, it actually pulls it off.
Sorry for your headphones, everybody. That was exhilarating. I was looking at that Nidalee the entire time, and as time went on, it's like this is only going to be close. We'll see at the very end, and we actually are going to get some tanky help with our Thieves Gloves in that front line. But we got a little bit of help with the Thieves Gloves on the Nidalee too, with the Bramble. We actually have a better team this go around in terms of tankiness. Let's see if that's going to end up winning or losing. As Buzzy Boo speed racing to his date.
Yeah, it looks like it. Oh no. If Buzzy goes 8th, maybe if Dino Dan or Jose, maybe even Devless has a pop-off game, they could be the victor instead. Buzzy, uh-oh. Really valuing that date. Asian Gamer into Tay.
Yeah, high priority on the date, I would say. If the date was on the carousel, probably would get them that date too. As exactly, we need, man. When Nidalee is good, I think you just have to build RFC, right? It's just one of those situations. Unless you have that magic damage, it's going to hit her anyway. Because every time she does dodge, right, she's going to crit right back, and we're going to take someone out. It's going to be Asian Gamer who finishes in last place. Buzzy Boo at 5, Tay at 9, A-Ray 11, Dino Dan 13. I know y'all can read, but I just wanted to show you how close this is. Literal 1 or 2 units separate a top 4 for some of these players.
Yeah, I mean, being at this close from like 4th to 7th right now, getting into top 4 feels great. Could maybe solidify the finish on the night for BuzzyBoo in the victory, but a 7th could really, really throw that all up in the air, and it could be massively different. I think BuzzyBoo grabbed a Zephyr, so that's gonna be great to at least secure one more win. Tay grabbing a Zeeks to perhaps buff up the Nidalee and the Soraka. These Thieves Glove rolls are significantly worse for both of the units. Don't like to see that one.
At least with the Sunfire, there's a little bit of upside, but an all AP roll on Riven is literally for one thing and one thing only, and that is the ultimate, which takes forever to get a second one onto you. The first one, though, is going to rip right through them. So don't be surprised if you see like initial high damage from the Riven, and then not really a lot following after that. Let's see if it's not even that much on that one. They were on 3 tanks. Let's see if we're going to be able to stall them out a little bit longer. It looks like we will. Diana not able to get to that ultimate. And we do finally have that Garen taking them down. But the Sorokin roll looking pretty strong right now. It's really that Nidalee as well, tanking in that front line. Just really good synergy between those two units.
Definitely hanging on another round. Same with BuzzyBoo. Oh man, look at the HPs now, Boop. Banana at 8, Jose at 15. 10 HP separates 2nd from 7th.
I don't know if I've ever even experienced this kind of game before.
Oh, that's so insane.
Either on ladder or as a caster, but like you said, 10 points from 2nd to 7th. And that should tell you as well how good Devless feels right now, because it's almost a guaranteed top 4.
Definitely.
Even again if you lose the rest of the rounds, because if Banana and A-Ray and Tay both all lose, they will be eliminated, and we could potentially get a triple elimination in this round. No RFCs though, so this Nidalee is still going to be very, very, very strong. We need those dodges to come through, and they finally do. We're going to be on the Draven in the back line. We get a couple of those axes to fall on, but is it going to be enough? No, the Draven actually takes down the Nidalee and the Soraka, and for the first time today, it's going to be Draven coming out on top, but we actually don't get an elimination.
No.
2 HP and BuzzyBoo finishing in 7th place. Go on your date, friend. Have some fun. You probably made the top 4. Not sure about. We'll find out at the end of the day. But BuzzyBoo, thanks for coming. That was great having you. But yeah, even the fact that we have 2 HP, 6th place, right? That's an extra point that might put us in a better position later on.
Definitely, that's insane. I mean, getting a 2nd from Tay in this position could be fantastic. Could get them into the top 3 to see them again. Buzzy finishing in 7th, it does indeed shake things up very, very heavily. We get also a 3-item dragon. It's going to be a couple tanky items that are great for Irelia. We have a bunch of gold too, so Tay is going to be leveling up here. It looks like they have 5 gold to roll with, because of course not really rolling for any upgrades. No more tier 3s in the table. You can do that, roll once, and play a cannon for skirmisher. All right, I mean, that's not the worst.
No, it's extra damage for the people who need the damage, right? So the Nidalee is going to be even stronger, but we're maxed out now, and that Nidalee is also very, very, very tanky. Right now with the Warmogs and the Thorn Mail. So the Sunfire Cape's not going to be on it. Item component with that sword on the Aurelia really messing things up. So the only option we have is the Pike, who is going to get double trap clawed. I didn't know those stacked. But now we have another really good MF ult who is going to take down that Soraka pretty easily, just chewing through that HP. And this is exactly what you need against the Nidalee. It doesn't matter if you can dodge auto attacks when most of the damage is coming from a spell cast. As Tay does get eliminated in 5th place. We have a top 4, friends, all separated by 20 HP.
Oh man, and Dino Dan falls in a bot 4 as well, but Jose's still alive. This is the potential Jose comeback, Boop. Jose with a 1st or maybe even a 2nd here. Actually a 2nd would do it. No, actually math is hard. Needs a 1st.
Math is hard.
Don't mind me.
Notorious
needs a 1st, but
us.
can't actually win.
Yeah, it's a 1st. It's a 1st. Is it going to be?
Can he do
For
it?
Jose Paula, we have some very good units. I love the Shroud. I love the Morellos on the Diana. Utility items on Diana are very strong. The Gallia ult does go off, but this Diana ult should be pretty big once the trampoline park closes. There it is, gets the carry in it, and that's what matters. Debuffs galore with the Akshan, but, you know, anytime there's a Hecarim, you just got to keep him from that ult. That they do. Devlis loses out on that round, but thank goodness we had that lead, because we have lost the last couple rounds, and we're still in the top 3. Bananas and Pajamas eliminated.
Oh, this is intense. Banana goes out in 4th. Now, any single round could be the last. Jose not funding the upgrade. This Akshan is going to be so strong in every single fight, as long as he doesn't, you know, run it down. Does he jump into, say, like a Heimerdinger cast or something? Jose has a Shroud, so can, of course, stop that. Well, it's probably be Heimer swap back to the other corner. It is, and he predicts it, or responds to it. Great Shroud.
That is a big Shroud, especially with that Heimerdinger. There's actually a lot of good self-healing on this team. When it comes to, I guess it's more so shielding, so the Heimerdinger isn't going to be as successful. Oh, but it's going to ult anyway. Gets one shot. Jose Paulo actually gets eliminated in 3rd place. A-Ray is going to win out on this, and will Devlis win the Ghost round? It's going to be up to that Draven.
Wow, yeah, looks like he's going to. Okay, Boop, I was actually so insane, because I think that if the Shroud didn't connect on the Heimer, Heimer would have ulted and wouldn't have hit Akshan, and he would have grappled away and then been fine. But the fact that the timing was exactly like that, Akshan then grappled around, landed in front of the turret, and the turret one-shot him. That is a BG. Super unlucky for Jose there.
Yes, I think that might actually be an understatement, to be honest with you. When you do everything right but still screw yourself over, it's like living my life.
That sucks.
Renewer spat on Garen, always very good. The Garen has actually really held on strong throughout the entirety of today. Probably one of the more common units that we've seen. But in terms of variety, it's been a lot. We saw a ton of Hellions in that first round, but not really since then. And it's been, you know, a lot of these renewers in the late game, particularly this Heimerdinger, that's really been sticking around. A lot of damage, especially with that Shadow Jewel Gauntlet. Let's see if this is going to go A-Ray or Devlis. This is the last round, Khroen.
It is gonna be Devlis, level 9. A-Ray not quite, but the Draven in the backline does get CC'd. Can it start stacking this Rage Blade up? The Viego is there to steal units in the backline as well, but the Heimer is so safe from A-Ray. The cast is going to be here soon, but no, the Thresh hooks the Heimer, so it's gonna at least be delayed. Does get the ulti off. That's so much damage. The Draven's is going to sustain through it, though. Has to get through the Ivern. Has to get through everything else, and will be able to do it. Devlis coming up big in the final game number 4. Taking out A-Ray.
That was a very fun last round. Congratulations, everyone who made it through today's lobby, which was the definition of battle royale, to be honest with you, right? Everyone beat up on everybody. Maybe some true love came out of this as well. A lot of different opportunities again, but I have no idea who this top 3 is. We're going to have to see those scores. And, you know, just like Santa, check them twice and 3 times to make sure that the winner, we get that interview, and then we can see how they, you know, process today, which has been so back and forth.
Oh man, what a fantastic night. I think, as you wait for the scores, I think we can say one thing for certain, and it's because Jose didn't get first. It is going to be BuzzyBoo actually winning out. So hopefully we will have an interview. I think we saw BuzzyBoo still sticking around. So props to
We'll make it quick for him. We'll make it quick for him.
Exactly.
You know, maybe we'll give him some tips and tricks instead of do like a gameplay. A gameplay thing, you know? Be respectful,
be a
right?
exactly.
Consent is important, right? You gotta, if you're respectful and you treat everyone with respect, the date might go well.
Yeah, a very needed, I think, concept to be spreading around the industry recently, but
yeah,
definitely. But we'll see what the scores are going to be, see if we can get BuzzyBoo on the line. But just what a fantastic day of games, Boop. I think we saw a lot of diversity in terms of comps, a lot of, you know, closeness in the scores as well, because some players were going top 2 and then bot 2. It was really only like Buzzy was consistent, and Dino Dan actually, I believe, as well, who were consistent for most part of the night. But then both of them, I think, like went bot 2 or bot 4 in that last game. So it was really all over the place, honestly. But it was fun nonetheless.
No,
Is there a
super
moment
fun.
that stands out as your favorite moment of the night, Boop?
That
There's a
last
lot of, I
round,
think, a lot of good
actually.
parts. The last
I
round, that was
actually, yeah,
good.
that last round was exhilarating.
Oh yeah,
Also, the fact that I think we only saw it once, but I think there might be a Lux comp out there as well. Maybe not exciting,
true.
but in terms of discovery, I do think the Lux comp was a little surprising. But again, I think what the emblems have done has changed the intangibles of everything in the late game to where six Skirms is going to be the top. That's not the case anymore, right?
Yeah.
Renewer Garen might be around, which means that we might need anti-healing, which means that comps like MF might find a little bit more power. And do you see how, like, everyone at home, you have to go on those kind of rides to really see what is really powerful, right? Like, Renewer Garrett has always been good, but it's so much better now, right? Based off of the environment that it's in.
Yeah, it's a lot more accessible to both, get the renewer emblem and to have comps that just lean into for it, being good, getting four renewers. Like you get your Heimer, your now, Rakan's in here as a good renewer. Um, Ivern as well. There's just so many good units, I think, and a lot of comps have strayed away from just the vertical. You go six Dawn, six Redeem, six Forgotten, and I'm liking that. A bit more variety actually is a really good breath of fresh air in the TFT meta, I would say personally.
It's
We
the
got to see a bit
spice
of
of
everything.
life.
Yeah,
It's the spice of life. And
it
so,
is.
if y'all are wondering, we're still calculating the scores. We're double checking it. It's so close. We want to make sure that it's happening correctly. And I guarantee you there's going to be some ties as well because when we're casting, there's always ties.
I know it
On
feels like
the,
it so often actually.
yeah, Allie's not here, so we don't know who would lose it.
Oh
But at the
no.
end of the day, Allie and I are really good friends, so that's totally okay. But at the end of the day, I think that we should be really impressed with where the game is at, how the players really approached it, where a player who got 7 3 times also won a lobby.
Yeah.
Right, so it is really anybody's game, and consistency is key, in my opinion. I think top four play styles will always be better in this particular kind of meta, instead of first or eighth. It's just I think winning in these metas is a lot harder than it is to get top four. It always is. That's a stupid statement, like in a vacuum. But in this particular meta, I think the percentages are even more into the top four play style. Personally, I could be wrong.
Yeah. Oh, actually, we might be having some spicy things in the score. I think I heard correctly those scores are ready, and we can get on into them, Boop. So let's do it. Oh, there was actually a tie for first place, it looks like, and Devlis gonna be winning the tiebreaker there over Buzzy Boo. Oh my, Buzzy Boo second, Jose tying for third, but winning that tiebreaker there against Dino Dan, A-Ray, then Banana, Tay, and Asian Game to round things out. But man, that's so close there at the top. I didn't think it was that
Yeah.
close.
Well, that is unfortunate that Buzzy Boo got a Jessica Simpson in this situation. For sports fans that don't know that reference, a lot of people blame Jessica Simpson for Tony Romo not playing well in the Super Bowl that year. So because we had a date, I think we might have rushed a little bit. And Buzzy Boo's still here, which is awesome. But we take those. But again, good luck, Buzzy. We want to hear from you later on
Yeah,
how this
I'm
went.
still so
Where
curious,
literally
actually.
everybody is invested at this point in time, and so please let us know. But at the end of the day, Devless is going to be the one that we hear from because the tiebreaker is going to go their way.
Yeah, definitely. Just waiting on Devlis to get on in here, and then we can start picking their brain, because I'm certain that Devlis is probably not thinking they'd be here from at least the initial couple of games, like starting out with a couple of bot fours, but still making it to win. Like, that is absolutely fantastic. And I believe we do have Devlis on the line here. Are you with us? And congratulations on your victory.
Hello.
Hello,
Hello.
hello.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you are welcome. Oh man, Devlis, welcome to, Fight Night Rising. You're here for the victory. I want to see, just tell me about how you're feeling right now. Like, you started off the day a couple of bot fours, but you made it your way here. Were you a bit nervous heading on into it, or kind of, where was your mind at?
I was a bit nervous to start because it was like I'm pretty new to TFT and like competitive TFT in general.
Yeah.
I came from I don't know if you guys know auto chess at the
Yeah.
games. Yeah, I played competitive there. Transition to TFT. I started out with two ball fours, if I played better, I could have top four those games, but try to keep a strong mental and yeah.
A strong mental is so important in TFT for sure. What I will ask you one more quick thing before passing over to Boop. What got you inspired into getting into TFT as opposed to just keeping on playing auto chess or anything in specific, or you just wanted to change a pace or what?
I always enjoyed TFT as a game because it's always changing and it's much more interesting to me. Also, auto chess is pretty much dead, so like
Oh no.
the money is good too, and like better competition as well.
Okay.
Okay, that's a
Competitive, yeah.
yeah, interesting take. So when it comes to TFT in this particular meta, why do you think you were successful at the end of the day? Do you think it's playstyle, your preparation, your mental, all of the above?
I think this meta is much more flexible than the previous metas, and I'd like to think well, I'm trying to improve on being more flexible, and it's like I really focus on that aspect, and this meta promotes it more than previous metas.
Cool. And my final question is there anyone that you want to thank for your victory today? Did anyone help you prepare, or is this more of a solo activity for you?
Oh, well, obviously, everyone that supports me, shout out to them, like people in my stream, and yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Devless. And where can we find you on your stream? And if you want to shout out on your social medias.
My stream's twitch.tv/Devilish. I don't stream TFT. I just feel like I want to get better first
That's
for
fair.
streaming.
Maybe in the future we'll be
Yeah,
seeing some
maybe in the
Devless.
future
Yeah,
you guys
hopefully.
can see me stream.
Well,
Cool.
I'll be looking forward to it. Thank you very much, Devless, for taking your time to speak with us, and congratulations once again on your victory. We'll be seeing you here next week because winning, of course, you get invited back. So we'll see you
Yep,
once again.
thank you.
All right. There we have it, Boop. Devless being the victor of tonight. An unexpected one, I would say, at that. And having some previous auto chess, experience, and then coming into TFT and already doing so well at, at least for Fight Night Rising, that definitely opens up a lot of avenues to, stick with it, and certainly a confidence booster moving forward as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you just won Fight Night Rising. Stream it, my friend.
Yeah, right?
Right?
You're pretty
Stream your
good.
TFT. You're pretty good at this thing. Don't. I was actually having. I'm gonna take 2 minutes to talk about a friend of mine who
Sure.
I think has finally gotten over her ranked anxiety, right? Because she was like, oh, I don't know Sentinels. I don't know everything just yet. I don't want to go in. And then I swear to God, she gets second and first, like after jumping in, right? And I think sometimes you might think you're not as good as you are. You might think that you're not ready, but you probably won't ever feel like you are, right? So you have to just do it. And that's kind of like my 2 cents there. I want to see you stream. I want to see you do well. You just won a bunch of money today, so let's keep that going. We'll see you
Yeah.
next week, and hopefully we get to check out that stream as well.
I know, right? That's, ladder anxiety, ranked anxiety can strike so many players, but just get on into it. You're probably better than you expect, honestly. And I hope that Devless gets some more, confidence out of this one to want to stream
Yeah.
TFT because a competitive player coming out of other games, coming in here, like we see it all the time in TFT. And, yeah, I guess
You are that
a
person.
lot of players.
You are talking about you.
A lot of players, not just
Yeah.
myself. I had my time, but there's a lot of players coming from so many different backgrounds, MOBAs, card games, everything like that. But it's nice to see, of course. But yeah, no, it's been a fantastic night, Boop. Any final words, anything that were on your mind before we all head on out of here?
Yeah, of course. I'm actually like nervous for Buzzy and his date. I'm very invested in this, so definitely thinking about that. But two,
Yeah.
if this is what the meta is going to be like for the next 3 months or so, I'm stoked. I actually almost said something bad for online because I was so excited, right? Like I really really like this meta. I love playing the game. I like watching it, and as always, Khroen, spending time with you is always a highlight
Yeah.
of my week.
Thank you very much, Boop. It is one of the highlights of my week as well. I always love being here. It is fantastic stuff, but it looks like it'll come to an end for this week. But, you know, we're not going to have to take a break again. We'll be here next week seeing Devless and others compete. But thank you all very much for watching. This has been Fight Night Rising presented by Wisdom. And until next time, take care and have a good night.